Shout out to everybody. Let's look. So it looks like Elon Musk has a new interview. It says Elon Musk exposes why Democrats don't want waste and fraud to be turned off. This is interesting. I got to see this.
Interview with Mr. Elon Musk, who, of course, is famed Trump advisor, CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, chair of X Corp. Elon, thank you for doing this. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I want to begin, but among other things, everyone's attacking you for your position. What are you doing in the government? There was a cyber attack on X.
Yo, what do y'all think about Elon Musk? He's about to go up. What's up, Respect VA? He's about to go up into space to try to get the astronauts. He's doing a lot. Finding government waste, doing a very good job doing it. Shout out to Elon Musk. He's got the Democrats upset
Today, which shut it down and may have been foreign sourced.
Yes.
It's a big story. You want to give us a moment on that?
Well, we're not sure exactly what happened, but there was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down the X system with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area.
Well, so that's your suspicion. Is the website, is the internet up? Is
the Ukraine area.
Which shut it down and may have been foreign sourced.
Yes.
It's a big story. You want to give us a moment on that?
Well, we're not sure exactly what happened, but there was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down the X system with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area.
Well, wow. So that's your suspicion.
Wow. What do y'all think about that? So they tried to come after SpaceX, Ukraine hackers. Wow. We might have to change this title.
Is the website, is the internet up? Is it up yet?
It's up, yeah.
It's up yet. Okay, good. But I just was looking back. Let me just see if I get this right. They're setting fire to various Tesla charging stations near Boston.
What?
Shots were fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Various nonviolent.
Shots fired, not a metaphor.
Wait, hold on. I got a Cybertruck, so I might be good. But yo, y'all, they are crazy. They really coming after Elon Musk companies. They are this mad that they're trying to stop government waste. This is insane. That, and then, Trump doesn't want to keep throwing money at Ukraine. They mad and they doing all of this. This is crazy.
Shots fired, yes. Downtown New York, marching against the Tesla showroom. Your stock is way down. You've been criticized left and right.
But look on the right side.
I mean, wait.
Hold on. What is Tesla stock right now? Let's look at this because I might buy some. 222, so it's down 40 points. What? Yo, I'm about to buy 10 grand worth. That's good. I mean, that's good for buyers. That's good for buyers. What was it? What were they like a month ago? Wow, a month ago they were 350. They're down $128. Man. That's just keep buying it. That's what I would do. That's how I made my money. I would just every time the stock would go down, I would just buy more of it. I didn't care. I liked when stock go down. I don't want stock to keep going up forever. It's got to go down to make it value. You know what I mean? As a, value proposition, it might go back up. So, all right.
What are you doing?
Go down some more. I'm buying it.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Yes. I'm an optimist.
Yeah. But besides that,
yes. I mean,
how's your day?
What motivates you to do this?
Was the opera good?
It's tough sledding.
Yeah, it is tough sledding. But I think we're doing the right thing here. There's been a tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. When you're part of the government, you saw a lot of that, and there's been. If you look at the Inspector General reports and the Government Accountability Office.
Sorry, I'm texting people about this Elon Musk interview.
There have been many audits that have pointed out that there's a tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. In fact, there was a report issued by the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, last year. So during the Biden administration, which estimated the federal government fraud to be $500 billion. So just to be clear, that's not a Trump administration thing, that's a Biden administration thing. So what we're trying to do is get that number down to a much smaller.
Hold on, I'm about to share this out because I'm about to send this to somebody.
Figure, save money for the American taxpayer, stop money being spent on things that I think very few taxpayers would agree make sense. Transgender animal surgeries, or why are we spending money? Why are American tax dollars being spent on this? The president's gone through a long list of absurd things. Why are the 20 million people who are definitely dead marked as alive in the Social Security database? Why were hundreds of millions of dollars of Small Business Administration loans were given out to people aged 11 and under, according to this?
Hold on, Robert, what are you talking about? Robert said, yeah, you got to hit the other channel. They're talking about Donald Trump putting him down, and Elon, like, you won't believe, give the guy a chance. He's only been in for 45 days.
Social Security, I mean, like, these must be some very enterprising 8-year-olds.
Let's do this one first.
And some pretty strong 150-year-olds.
Yes, exactly. As the president said, we have an enormous number of people marked as alive who are 160. He didn't know the country was that healthy.
Yes. So demystify this. How do you do it? Okay. How big is your team?
Yeah.
Where'd you recruit most of them from? And what is it that makes you choose, the Treasury or Social Security or USAID? How does it work? Let the public know, please.
Right. Well, we just basically follow the money. We look at the president.
Hold on. Unbelievable. InfoWars reporter Jamie White was brutally unalived in Austin last night after leaving the InfoWars studio and returning home. Oh my God. I'm about to get out of politics, y'all. I'm not doing this no more. Let me show y'all this. Yo, what the? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. This is crazy. Yo, InfoWars with Alex Jones, like, his host was just like brutally unalived. Like, this is crazy. Like, I just posted it on my Twitter. They've been exposing the Democrats and all of that. Yo, this is insane. I might, we might have to start talking about something else because they not playing, bro. Let me show y'all this. Wow. Unbelievable. InfoWars reporter Jamie White was brutally unalived in Austin last night after leaving the InfoWars studio and returning home.
Police really releasing few details about what happened overnight, but this is what we do know right now. Police say they actually found the victim here in the parking lot of this apartment complex. EMS ended up taking that man to the hospital where he later died. Right now, police will not say exactly if he was shot or stabbed.
Yeah, there are people, like, this is crazy, man. Like, people don't understand. Like, I hopefully this, this is something else. But, man, even like Haas Twins just commented on this, says sad, man. It's crazy. Everybody's on there. You really could I'm not saying this is what happened, but you really are putting your life on the line talking about stuff like this, bro, and trying to wake people up. Yeah, it's just crazy. I don't know if, man.
Stabbed, only saying that he had obvious trauma. Homicide detectives still on scene, as I mentioned this morning, collecting evidence. We've seen also a lot of activity in a second floor apartment where they've been taking evidence bags out. Right now, police say they do not have any information about a suspect, and they're asking if you know something about that.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't have no information. Who else is commenting on this? Let me show y'all this real quick. I bet they don't have no information about what's going on. It's like the power players on Twitter. Oz Twin said, sad, man. And then said, I was a huge fan of Jamie's work. An excellent reporter. The one really hurts. This is messed up. They're unaliving journalists in America now. The left has radicalized its base. I don't condone violence, but... Yo, what? I don't condone violence, but just one more of Elon's false claims about me. I never funded anyone for Tesla protests. I don't condone violence, but it's clear Americans are angry at him. It's easier to explain why they're angry than to accept that action have consequences. I don't condone violence, but it's clear Americans are angry at him. It's easier to explain away their anger than to accept that actions have consequences. Because Elon Musk said, investigation has found 5 Act Blue funded groups responsible for Tesla protests, troublemakers, disruption project, rise and resist, indivisible project, and Democratic Socialists of America. What is going on in America? This is insane, y'all. This is literally insane. Y'all share this out. This is crazy. Seems so. He said this is good. Somebody says celebrating unaliving someone is right on brand of violence left. Yo, and then they keep radicalizing everything. Like the left is y'all doing too much, man. Y'all gotta calm down. Accept the fact that somebody lost the election, man. Like, just, y'all be doing way too much, bro. And what does it say? It says, I'm grateful to Alex Jones for bringing me on board to wage this information war against the globalists. Was Jamie White. We've only begun the fight. InfoWars never die. Like, and him, like, being unalive like that, like, how? Like, that's not even in... I mean, you know, we don't know people. We only know what people present. Yo, this is crazy, bro. You said that's freaking savage. Y'all hit the likes, man. Should they slow this video down? Hit the likes. I can see. Hit the hundreds. Double tap the screen. Somebody says it's part of the resurrection. I don't know, man. Some things are... Like, I know not to talk about the Epstein situation. Talk about that. Depending on what platform, your views start going down, all of that, bro.
Since executive orders, and we also just follow the money. So
you don't understand, like, he is really... Y'all know how many people, like, don't like him? You know what I mean? Like, you got Democrats constantly making him out to be, like, this huge villain. And people are very impressionable. The news is dangerous. So Elon gotta be really smart. He gotta walk around with like a lot of like backup, you know what I mean? Like security and stuff like that.
We started looking closely at USAID because they were completely violating the president's executive orders to suspend foreign aid. You know, what's called foreign aid, but in our view is a lot of corruption. So what we saw there is just a tremendous amount of money being sent to non-governmental organizations. But actually, this, by the way, is I think one of the biggest sources of fraud in the world is government-funded non-governmental organizations. This is a gigantic fraud loophole where the government can give money to an NGO, and then that there are no controls over that NGO. So they've given billions of dollars, in fact, we estimate tens of billions of dollars to NGOs that are essentially scams.
This is tax season too, bro. Like, we about to pay all the... Like, if you make money, you got to pay taxes, and to know all your money, like, gonna be going to these, like, crazy scams. I'm like, my stomach is turning, bro. Like, you know, doing stuff like this, you know what I mean? Like, YouTube and all that, you got to pay money in taxes. And just to know, bro, like, they gonna be giving all my money, like, condoms in this place, and them to do Sesame Street shows, and their friends, like, paying them millions of dollars a month for an empty building. And like, the stuff that Elon Musk is uncovering, bro, makes it very uneasy, like, when you have to pay all this money, bro.
By the way,
I'm trying to put a stop to that, you know, so.
I don't want to interrupt, but Secretary of State Rubio just come out, I think he tweeted today, he has accepted over 80.
Lactose said Trump knows not to talk about it either because he's on those lists. Somebody said, and never classified what it meant or send even more money to Israel. Like, what? Marie Brown said, who was the person she's talking to? She said, it's crazy.
80% of your recommendations to shut down in USAID.
Right.
So your review and analysis was spot on.
Yes.
Yeah, Marie Brown, she's a member on the channel, said, it makes me wonder where our individual money went to specifically. Yeah.
So I think when people criticize, say, what DOGE is doing, we say, well, which part specifically? Because we put all of the actions of the DOGE team on the doge.gov website and on the DOGE handle on X. So we post the receipts. So it's like, this action has been taken, this action has been taken. So when we get criticism, we say, like, of what? Which line do you disagree with? Like, which cost saving do you disagree with? And then people usually can't think of any.
No.
You know, so
It's transparent line by line.
it's transparent line by line.
Which is quite remarkable.
Right. And so, and then with respect to the Treasury, for example, the two main recommendations we suggested, which have now been implemented, was that any payments going out of the Treasury, especially the Treasury's main payment computer, which is called PAM, things like a payments account manager or something like that, but it's like almost $5 trillion a year, so about $1 billion an hour, that the payments be coded with the congressional appropriation, and that there be an explanation for the payment. Very basic stuff. And just doing that, we estimate will save $100 billion a year.
You're not really, let me see if I get this right, particularly with Social Security, you're not really changing policy.
No, yes.
You're auditing the fiscal mechanisms to make sure that, you know, from point A gets to point B, and that's where it's supposed to get to. In some cases, it doesn't get there, or in some cases, it may go over there. But that's it's not a.
Yeah, hey, Marie Brown, I see you saying hit the like button. I don't know if that's gonna even work. Like, stuff like this, they do not want us talking about, like, stuff like this, bro. Oh man, because I can, like, distract people all day long with, like, random entertainment, but stuff like this is, like, serious. Like, this video is, like, literally stuck at, like, I don't do views like this. It's, like, stuck at, like, 2,500 views. You know what I'm saying? I see some people, like, hitting the 100s. Like, they don't want this, bro. Out.
Policy exercise. You're not changing laws. You're just doing what any business would do in a profit and loss audit.
I think we're really what we're adding here is caring and competence. And there's a massive amount of fraud of basically people submitting Social Security numbers for Social Security benefits, unemployment, Small Business Administration loans, and medical, where those are fake Social Security numbers, or they've stolen somebody else's Social Security number, and we're trying to put a stop to all of that. And that's the number which is estimated to be on the order of 10% of federal expenditures, which is, you know, half a trillion dollars.
It's a huge number.
Yeah.
You're working with the agency heads. You're working with the cabinet secretaries.
Yes.
I saw Howard Lutnick was on TV yesterday saying you were partnering with them. Is that fair?
Yeah, what we do is in consultation with the cabinet secretaries and with their departments. So we're really trying to be sort of, we'll refer to ourselves as tech support. You know, we're really helping the department get a handle on things, because what actually happens here is you've got this sort of vast federal bureaucracy, and then you've got a very thin layer on top of the politically appointed officials, and what tends to happen is that the bureaucracy, frankly, is in control, and they largely ignore the politically appointed people.
Why should the bureaucracy?
I'm sure you must have seen that.
I've lived with this twice. I worked for Reagan many years ago, and I worked for Trump in the first term.
Yeah.
It's like a...
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
permanent bureaucracy. I might add, it's a permanently liberal bureaucracy.
Yes, very much so.
And it doesn't, it's not a bureaucracy that necessarily enforces or implements presidential policy.
They don't. In fact,
That's my son.
try their best to thwart presidential policy. So the president is the elected representative of the people, and if the president cannot get things implemented as a reflection of the will of the people, then what we have is not a democracy. We have...
What y'all think about this? This is getting crazy, man. He got hackers targeting his businesses with IP addresses going back to Ukraine. Hold on.
All right, I was sent an interview here, and this is supposed to have more info on the Twitter X attack, cyber attack that is, that happened today. So let's check this out right now.
No, he's just gonna watch it like us. He ain't add nothing to it.
Business administration loans were given out to people aged 11 and under. They're like, of what? Which line do you disagree with? Like which cost saving do you disagree with? And then people usually can't think of any.
No.
So
it's transparent line by line.
It's transparent line by line,
which is quite remarkable.
Right. And so, and then with respect to the Treasury, for example, the two main recommendations we suggested, which have now been implemented, was that any payments going out of the Treasury, especially the Treasury's main payment computer, which is called PAM, things like payments account manager or something.
Yes, he said Elon better move militant. Yes. Not a cult said it's not up to Elon to decide what the money saved is used for. Yeah, it's not. He's just trying to save us money the best way he can. That's his only job, is to find out savings and then go get the astronauts. Other than that, that's it.
Something like that. But it's like almost $5 trillion a year, so about $1 billion an hour. That the payments be coded with the congressional appropriation, and that.
From the front line to the trails, a veteran Tate said, "I just wanted to keep my federal job. Voting for a president that took my job away because of a party not managing the government department had nothing to do with the job I started last December." What was your job?
To be an explanation for the payment. Very basic stuff. And just doing that, we estimate will save $100 billion a year.
You're not really, let me see if I get this right, particularly with Social Security, you're not really changing policy.
No, yes.
You're auditing the fiscal mechanisms to make sure that, from point A gets to point B, and that's where it's supposed to get to. In some cases, it doesn't get there, or in some cases, it may go over there. But that's it's not a policy exercise. You're not changing laws. You're just doing what any business would do in a profit and loss audit.
I think
one thing I don't like about what Elon Musk is doing, right? He's talking about on Twitter, I think he says something like Derek Chauvin needs to be pardoned. It's like, why would you say that? But do you not understand, like with the whole George Floyd, like toxicology reports or whatever, like they want to say like his unaliving was a result of whatever he ingested, right? But I looked at the video. I'm not like a pathologist or nothing like that. You know what I mean? I can admit that, but that video was crazy. Derek Chauvin need to be in jail. So that's what I don't like about Elon Musk. Also, a couple things about the cars. Thug Life. I got 3 of them. 3 Teslas. Get mad. You know what I mean? But I mean, they all right for the most part. Just certain things like the expense of the full self-driving is crazy expensive. I don't like that. You know what I mean? But in the build quality, when I first got them, it was crazy. I had to get some stuff fixed. But other than that, I mean, these brand new cars have build quality issues. But I think he corrected a lot of that with the newer models. Other than that, it's the Derek Chauvin things what I don't like that he talked about.
Really, what we're adding here is caring and competence.
All right, so I may have to end this video. Nobody's in here hitting the hundreds. Nobody's in here hitting the likes. And this is a topic I don't think they want to get out. You know what I mean? So I might have to end the video. Where y'all from? Real quick, before I turn this camera off. Where y'all from? I don't know where y'all from.
And there's a massive amount of fraud of basically people submitting social security numbers for social security benefits, unemployment, small business administration loans, and
You said I'm right? Yeah, I'm right. They don't want this video getting out. Computer guy says from the Bronx. Conspiracy said Baltimore. Q Davis said Newark, New Jersey. You like New Jersey? Brandon Johnson said Arizona. JR said, yo, I gotta end it. They're not hitting the a few people hitting the hundreds. I can see it on this side. LA, you from LA. Not Batman said LA. Monty Fam said Denver and Los Angeles. JR Chester, PA. Tropic, Oregon. Heidi, Florida. AWACS, Philly. From the front line to the trails. Said my job was important, was to serving my country for 8 years in the U.S. Army. Wasn't either. What did you do? What did you do? AWACS, Philly. Channel Forbes says South Florida by the Trinidad. E said Philly. Hans said, hey, I just got here. What's going on? What's up, Froggy Megsy? Shout out to you. Hey, they hacking. Hey, Froggy Megsy, they hacking Elon Musk companies. So, and they trace back the IP address to Ukraine. Very interesting. John said, hold on. All right, so from the front line said Washington State. 7 Up said, I wanted to keep my job as a stripper, but digital cash ruined that. Kepra, okay, I think your name Kepra says Chicago. All right. Then we got a VA person. Got Peter Pan said VA.
Medical, where those are fake social security numbers. So they've stolen somebody else's social security number, and we're trying to put a stop to all of that. And that's the number which is estimated to be on the order of 10% of federal expenditures, which is, half a trillion dollars.
It's a huge number.
Yeah.
You're working with the agency heads. You're working with the cabinet secretaries.
Yes.
I saw Howard Lutnick was on TV yesterday saying you were partnering with them. Is that fair?
Yeah, what we do is in consultation with the cabinet secretaries and with their departments. So we're really trying to be we'll refer to ourselves as tech support. Mm-hmm. We're really helping the department get a handle on things, because what actually happens here is you've got this sort of vast federal bureaucracy, and then you've got a very thin layer on top of the politically appointed officials, and what tends to happen is that the bureaucracy, frankly, is in control, and they largely ignore the politically appointed people.
Why should the bureaucracy?
I'm sure you must have seen that.
I've lived with this twice. I worked for Reagan many years ago, and I worked for Trump in the first term.
Yeah.
It's like a permanent bureaucracy. I might add, it's a permanently liberal bureaucracy.
Yes, very much so.
And it's not a bureaucracy that necessarily enforces or implements presidential policy.
They don't. In fact, they try their best to thwart presidential policy. So the president is the elected representative of the people. Mm-hmm. And if the president cannot get things implemented as a reflection of the will of the people, then what we have is not a democracy, we have a bureaucracy. We have rule of the bureau, not rule of the people. And that's what we're trying to defeat here, is
Right now, I feel like we got a bureaucracy. I don't think this is like, what y'all think? This is like,
the bureaucracy and have rule of the people. You know, and as you mentioned, the bureaucracy is overwhelmingly Democrat. So Washington, D.C. was 92.5%, I believe, voted for Kamala. So this is overwhelmingly a deep blue situation.
How do you pick your next targeted agency or department?
Well, we're trying to act broadly across all departments, so it's not just one department at a time. But
Are you in all of them now? All of them?
pretty much, yeah.
Yes. Oh.
We're trying to make the government more efficient across the board. So yeah.
How big's your team?
We're a little over 100 at this point.
100.
Get to 200.
You're going to get to 200.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're recruiting from where?
somebody said Tesla stock is dumpster fire. Hey, if y'all invest, like, I mean, you don't lose any money unless you pull out your stock, right? I pulled out my Tesla stock like years ago, all right? But when stock is going down and you know it's a solvent company and you know the reasons as to why it's going down, like this, because Elon Musk is super political. He started getting political and started driving the prices of stock down, and I got out. So I ended up losing a little bit of money dealing with him. So I've got like mixed feelings about Elon Musk. I don't think he's the person that needs to be the front of a company because he's too radical, some of the things that he says. You know, like, oh, Derek Chauvin needs to be pardoned and all. Like, for him to be, like, he's running a risk of them having a meeting, you know, and the investors wanting him removed, you know, because he's, I mean, he don't care. Like, he's a billionaire. But I think he's gonna negatively impact Tesla stock for the foreseeable future. He's gonna be very vocal. He's gonna be attacked by the liberals, negative media pressure. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? But if you're an investor in Tesla, you know, okay, I'm gonna do the long game. All right? Like this is like this ain't gonna last forever. You just buy up while it's low and then get out. But I had to like buy something. You know what I'm saying? So I got out. You know, but I don't know. I think he's kind of a dangerous person to have your money in this company. He is right now. You know what I mean? So if you deal with this company, you're gonna have volatility. It's just what's gonna happen. But you got to put yourself in the mindset. It's like, yo, am I gonna ride this out for years, or if I'm a short-term investor? If you're a short-term investor, Tesla's not the stock for you. You need to do something else. You know what I mean?
More or less.
Basically, it's software people, information security software people, and finance. You know, it's basically, yeah, finance and technology. I mean, frankly, I can't believe I'm here doing this. It's kind of bizarre.
I don't take any investment advice from anybody that's in a random chat. You know what I'm saying? I don't. You shouldn't take investment advice for somebody that's random person doing a video. Y'all need to do y'all own research on what stocks to invest in. Figure out what your threshold is. How much can you afford to lose? If the safest stocks or the safest bets is S&P 500. That's the safest thing you can do. You know, you can get creative and just follow along with what they do with the S&P and stuff like that and figure out how you're going to maneuver. You know, and maybe just, you know, some offshoot stocks or whatever you want to do. But just be careful, man. I'm not giving investment advice at all.
But I kind of think that the
DEJI said, go fix South Africa. Hey, I'm glad Elon Musk is here helping fix government corruption here. Like, I like that, man. Like, because if we can get mad at him all day long. I don't know where you from, and I'm not going at you or nothing like that. But, you know, him doing this is big. We never would have known where all of our money was going. Like Elizabeth Warren, you know what I mean? These people don't want this to happen. They don't want him cleaning up a lot of waste. You know, so if it takes a person from South Africa to come in here and do the job, let them do the job. Let them save us some money so that President Trump can go to Congress one day and be like, all right, we saved Americans some money. We're operating on the budget that is sustainable, where we have a balanced budget. Country's not spending hundreds of billions of dollars in a war we're not even fighting. No taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime. Let this dude do that, because he's going to end up benefiting us in the long run. You know what I mean? Why is he doing this? I don't know. Maybe he has a motive, contracts or something. I don't know. You know, but let him do what he's going to do. You know, if he gets out of line and we feel like he's doing a little bit too much, then we go at him. But for right now, all he's doing is trying to save America money. And all the Americans are doing is complaining about him trying to save America money. It's like they made up rumors saying he was going after Medicaid. He never did that. They made up rumors saying he was going after Social Security. He never did that. If anything, he's trying to save Social Security by making sure we're not spending a whole bunch of unnecessary money on a lot of different programs that we don't even need. Hundreds of millions of dollars going out the window for they spending hundreds of millions of dollars like it's $100. Like, I think the amount of government waste is so unfathomable, is that when we hear them talk, like when he's saying like, yo, I could save $100 billion here and there. Like, you know how many hundreds of millions of dollars until you get to that number? You know what I'm saying? A lot. You know how many thousands of dollars before you get to 100,000? Like, think all the minute things that he's trying to figure out ways to save money and how immense that is. You know, and we not even, like, we hear him throwing around like, oh, I saved like 30 million here and there and there. But all of the little things that he had to save to get to the big things, you know, the big amounts, you know what I mean? In some cases, like, I think this dude's doing a remarkable job, bro. Like, some people can't even balance their own, like, bank account. You know what I mean? Like, or, you know, if you gave somebody $100,000, be like, all right, I need you to manage this, or figure out how to, like, they couldn't even do that. This dude is figuring out ways to save the government billions of dollars, and we're complaining about it. Elizabeth Warren makes $200,000 a year, 200-some thousand a year. She's worth $12 million. We ain't got no complaint about that. We ain't asking where she getting her money from. We upset that a billionaire is doing this for free and saving us money, and we got a problem. That is literally insane to me. But it teaches me one thing, like people will say, and this is people from different countries, they say Americans are slow. This is what they say. I've been to Switzerland, I've been to France, I've been to like Italy, all of that. They think Americans are slow. This is what they think. And not because we walking around like, no, they think we're slow because we work against our interests all the time. We work against our own interests. What is our interest? Save money, not be involved in a war, protect ourselves domestically, all of that, right? American interests. We all like giving hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine without even it being in the form of a loan. We doing all of this insanity on a regular basis. Insanity. Even when you get somebody working for us, they want to like try to unalive them, do all kind of craziness. Now, if Kamala Harris would have got elected, do you feel like she would be trying to find government waste? She would be creating more government waste. She would. In my opinion, I think she would. Now you got a dream team. You got somebody talking about overhauling the FDA. Robert Kennedy, like, talking about that. People are mad at that. Oh, he wants to get rid of red dye number 3, or he wants to get rid of red 40. He wants to get rid of aspartame. Why you want to get rid of that? Like, what? It's crazy. Like, when people say we slow, like, bro, they be fighting against we fight against our own interests on a regular basis. Crazy. We $36 trillion in debt. You think we smart? Y'all would rather elect Kamala and have y'all literally complaining on Twitter. I don't know how many like TikToks and Twitters I've seen of people saying they can't afford groceries. And people are saying that, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to buy a house. And y'all want to elect the people that made it like that. Like, what is wrong with people? So you get this guy him and Trump trying to change things, and people are mad. Like, why?
Yeah, we've got this enormous federal budget deficit, and it's a $2 trillion deficit. It keeps growing. Our interest payments are higher than our Defense Department budget. That's I think was the real wake-up call for me, was looking at seeing that the interest payments on national debt exceeded the Defense Department budget. And that was only growing over time, which meant if we didn't do something about this, then...
Y'all hear what he said? Listen to what he's saying, bro.
Our interest payments are higher than our Defense Department budget. That's I think...
Our interest payments on our debt are higher than the defense national budget. Yo.
Was the real wake-up call for me, was looking at seeing that the interest payments on national debt exceeded the Defense Department budget. And that was only growing over time, which meant if we didn't do something about this, then there won't be any money for anything.
Look, somebody just saying that's always been the case. So don't fix it? Like, you don't think we should fix it?
We'll just be servicing debt.
And you know how to read an income statement, and you know how to read a balance sheet. You've had some business experience. I'm kidding, but
yeah,
you know about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, I just don't want America to go bankrupt.
So it's a call to action. You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
You giving up your other stuff? I mean, how are you running your other businesses?
With great difficulty. Yeah, I mean...
But there's no turning back, you're saying?
I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste and fraud, and so far we're making good progress, actually. So our savings at this point exceed $4 billion a day. Mm-hmm. So it's very significant.
You think you'll wind up getting to $1 trillion?
Yeah.
Of savings?
I mean, unless we're stopped, we will get to $1 trillion of savings.
And that stuff can be translated. I mean, we had Russell Vogt, the OMB director, on earlier, through very rescission authority, impoundment authority. But I believe you said it earlier, it's an audit that will not gather dust on shelves. This is actually going to wind up with real savings, bend the spending baseline down.
Yeah. There have been many good audits, like I said, done by inspector generals and by Government Accountability Office, and they just haven't been implemented. Nothing's been done. I think the GAO identified that there were 17 million dead people in the Social Security database several years ago. It's now 20 million, but nobody did anything about it. I think we could sort of look at this as a complaint minimization optimization. So basically, if the government sends money out to, whether it's wasteful or fraudulent, nobody complains if they receive money, but they do complain if they don't receive money. And the people that complain the loudest are the ones receiving the fraudulent money.
And you're on it.
Yeah. I mean, so the goal here is let's not have America go bankrupt with waste and fraud. So that's what I'm here for, and we're making good progress.
Yes, you are. You're going to go another year?
Yeah, I think so.
Final report middle of next year?
Well, we're just getting things done as opposed to writing a report. Like I say, reports don't mean anything. You got to actually take action.
Yes.
So the waste report in entitlement spending, which is which is most of the federal spending is entitlements. So that's like the big one to eliminate, because that's the sort of $500 billion, maybe $600-700 billion a year. that is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying
Federal employees
to come here,
Yes.
and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So this is why the Democrats are so upset about the situation, because they're losing. If we turn off this gigantic money magnet for illegal immigrants, then they will leave, and they will lose voters.
You have President's support. He said so again yesterday. He completely supports your operation.
Yeah. Well, thanks. But that's super. Without the president's support, we couldn't make any progress here. Yeah, I mean, where you'll see the biggest outcry is from the Democrats who are, they don't want the waste and fraud to be turned off because it is a gigantic magnet to attract illegal immigrants and have them stay in the country. And I mean, you see some of the crazy stuff, like where money from FEMA, which is meant, FEMA is an agency that's meant to take care of Americans in distress. And a bunch of their money was being sent to pay for luxury hotels in New York for illegal immigrants. And that was happening even after the president was elected, even after he signed an executive order saying that needs to stop. So we actually made sure that money did stop going, because it's outrageous that...
Yo, we about to spend all this money to go get them astronauts, bro. Yo, what is it, like 2 of them? Bruh. Oh man, that's a lot of money, man. Hold on, look. Okay, it's more than that. All right, so let's see. Let's read this, bro. What news y'all want me to read? Left wing news or which y'all? Let's go to left wing news. Let's go to the fake news. Let's read some left wing news. All right. Elon Musk called Senator Mark Kelly a traitor over his social media posts in support of Ukraine. What does this have to do with the astronauts? Like, what is y'all doing? What I typed Elon Musk trying to say to astronauts, like, what is this, bruh? Like, y'all is crazy. Oh, building rockets. It said Kelly, a former Navy combat pilot, responded to the tech billionaire's remarks by saying he's not a serious guy and should go back to building rockets. Elon Musk and Senator Mark Kelly sparred on social media Monday, with new tech billionaire calling the Arizona Democrat a traitor over a series of posts in support of Ukraine and its people. Kelly said in an initial post Sunday that his trip over the weekend to the war-torn country, where he met the military members, nurses, and others, had reaffirmed his commitment to not give up on the Ukrainian people. He added that any peace deal with Russia has to protect Ukraine's security and can't be a giveaway to Russia President Vladimir Putin. Kelly also criticized President Donald Trump, saying he was trying to weaken Ukraine's hand. "You are a traitor," Musk wrote on X on Monday, the platform he owns, in response to Kelly's post. "Traitor, Elon, if you do not understand that defending freedom is a basic tenet of what makes America great and keeps us safe, maybe you should leave it to those of us who do," Kelly responded. The senator's trip came shortly after the Trump administration paused military aid to Ukraine in the wake of an explosive meeting with the Oval Office. All right, so what does that have to do? What is y'all doing, bro? Why is y'all... Yo, literally... Oh, yeah, Google is liberal. I mean, I ain't say y'all liberal. Y'all kind of... Let me go to DuckDuckGo. Let me... My bad, Google. Trusting y'all like that. You can't do that from Google. You gotta download the app. Yo, this is crazy, bro. Type in Elon Musk saving the astronauts, and you come up with him and Kelly are sparring. Yo, this site is crazy, bro. Oh, man.
The guy's basically the Antichrist.
He was going to do. We're 7 weeks in, and there's a battle in the free world between NATO, our alliance, our allies, Europe on one side and Putin on the other side. And the president of the United States has clearly put America on the side of Putin. I find that troubling. We talk, and last thing I'll say, Pierce, we talk about the economy. By all indicators, Trump was given the strongest economic recovery since COVID. You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. I don't know what kind of omelet he's making. We talk about the tariff thing. Today's Monday. Are tariffs on? Are they off? I think the chaos economically of the first 7 weeks, Trump and not knowing what he's doing with his tariffs, I think have pissed off and confused everybody and has begun to damage the economy he was given.
Okay, I mean,
we had a president who had dementia before him, so that's a problem. And then to say that we're aligned with Russia right now is not true. We're trying to end an endless war, a war that has no ending, that nobody seems to be able to say, how many tanks does Ukraine need? How many ships do they need? How much money do they need? How many planes do they need? What do they need to win this war? Nobody can tell you that because they can't win this war. That's just reality. Putin's got nukes. So trying to negotiate a settlement and get to peace, I think is a good thing. But the idea that we've aligned ourselves with Russia.
I've not heard Donald Trump align himself with Russia against NATO or the West or even Ukraine. I've heard him get pretty rough with President Zelensky, which many people didn't like. But it may be because he feels resistance from Zelensky to actually get around a table with Putin, which it might well be the case. He may not really want to, but he's probably going to have to. Emily, let me bring Emily in here. I mean, Emily.
No, I just want to mention.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, welcome back, first of all. Welcome back,
Emily.
Thank
you. It's always good to be here.
And then, please, the stage is yours. Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Shout out to Piers Morgan, but we're not about to.
COVID or whatever you wanted to call it, but in fact, we're still facing the consequences of what Joe Biden did from his first day in office as president. And now I don't want to repeat the repetitive rhetoric of, it's Biden's fault, because Trump is in the process of fixing it. But the truth is, because of his actions, and the prime example is cutting off the pipeline in Canada, the oil pipeline, and skyrocketing oil prices, which then inevitably leads to every single price skyrocketing in the United States. We're still coming off of that. We're still coming off of consumers' lack of confidence. Under Joe Biden, there were two what could possibly lead to world wars that broke out under America's weak leadership, that now consumers are spending very conservatively because we don't know what the trajectory looks like. Now under Trump, we're gaining our confidence back, but we are coming off of the worst economy because of Joe.
Yeah, I just spent some money. I feel a little bit more comfortable with Trump. I just bought that Anthem AVM 90. Y'all look it up. I ain't gonna talk about it. Anthem AVM 90 theater system.
Joe Biden. Now, Trump doesn't have this magical wand that within the first 50 days of office he can fix it, but he's implementing the right policies on getting us on the path to fix it. And yes, there comes growing pains. Of course, it's not going to fix itself overnight, but we are coming off of the worst economy.
Well, I think I would say on that it wasn't the worst economy. Look, America's economy has actually outperformed pretty much everybody else's since the pandemic ended. So it's all a question of degree. I mean, compared to the UK's economy, America's been on fire the last few years. However, Trump has been persistent in saying it could have been doing a lot better, and now it's incumbent on him to actually prove that. Let me bring in Brianna, who's been waiting patiently here. I thought that Dave Rubin made a good point that the thing we didn't mention in the first 50 days, there was so much we could have mentioned, was what's happened at the border, where it's demonstrable, massive, immediate success there. The number of people coming over the border illegally has been dramatically cut. I mean, do you as an American welcome that?
As an independent left populist, I think this conversation is exactly why we need a workers' party in this country. You opened, Piers, by mentioning that Trump seems to be admitting that there's going to be, quote, growing pains. It's not just an admission. Republicans have been telegraphing this and pointing specifically to Milei and Argentina as an example of the economic policy they want to pursue. This is not an accident, nor is it a consequence of inheriting Biden's economy, which I have no interest whatsoever to defend. But it is worth noting that that Donald Trump is implementing an agenda that is purposefully throwing the country, if not into recession, then toward it. Because we have to ask ourselves the question of who he represents and who he is working for.
But what about my
inauguration,
question?
There were $3 billion. There was a lot that was said. I'm sorry, Piers, if I could just respond to a couple of things.
Well, yeah, but I did ask you a straight question. I mean, you can come to the other stuff, but on that specific point about the southern border,
the point,
there is, I mean, to me, look, as somebody who is described as an exceptional alien on my immigration status to the United States.
Yo, what is going on with Andrew Tate? Let me check out my girl Candace on this, bro. Let me see
all right.
Let's see what's going on. This.
All right. So this was not what we had planned for this evening. Obviously, we were going live tonight because we were going to cover Trump speaking, and we'll still get there, obviously, whatever he presents in front of the joint Congress. But then some news broke on X that Florida, and I thought it was a joke. I thought I was being pranked, that Florida has decided to move to criminally investigate Andrew Tate. Now, Andrew Tate is joining us, and I just want to at first give you guys the background here because it's egregious what happened here. I don't care about your opinion.
Wow, they're going after Andrew Tate. This is crazy, man. He's already been like deplatformed, and like, why are they going after Andrew Tate? Like, that don't make no sense.
About Andrew Tate. I don't care if you think he's a misogynist, if he's a sexist, if you think he's a racist. None of that actually matters, okay? Because you think about what would be the circumstance if Trump traveled to New York, ends the presidency, travels to New York, his plan lands, and leftists just start freaking out. How, I don't want him back in this state. I don't want him here. This is ridiculous. And then the governor moves to host a press conference, which Ron DeSantis did in Florida, as soon as Tristan and Andrew Tate landed, and said, I'm going to have my attorney general look into him because we don't want him here. He's not welcome here. This is what Ron DeSantis did. He's not.
Are you serious? Nah, this can't be real.
I don't care about your opinions about Andrew Tate. I don't care if you think he's a misogynist. Attorney general look into him because we don't want him here. He's not welcome here. This is what Ron DeSantis did. He's not welcome here. What do you mean he's not welcome here? He's a U.S. citizen. He's a U.S. passport. He's welcome here. Okay, he hasn't been charged of any crimes overseas, irrespective of what you think about him. Of course, he's welcome here. And so Ron DeSantis says that, and literally a couple of days later, the attorney general announces that, yes, in fact, and can we pull that tweet up, Skylar?
Can Pam Monty step in and like stop that? No, that's state. She can't do nothing.
If you got it, he tweets this tonight. He tweets last week. So yes, literally at the moment that neocons started freaking out in the state of Florida, I directed my office to work with our law enforcement partners to conduct a preliminary inquiry into Andrew and Tristan Tate. Now you're going, is this Stalin tweeting this, Candace? Is this in America, or are we in Russia right now? What's going on? Nope, let's keep reading. This is actually America. This happened in Florida. He then continues his tweet with, based on a thorough review of the evidence. Oh, it's only been a couple of days. They move quickly. I've directed the Office of Statewide Prosecution to execute search warrants and issue subpoenas in the now active criminal investigation into the Tate brothers. Love, show me the man, and I will show you.
Yo, this is illegal, bro. They doing too much now. Like, what y'all think about all this?
The crime, Attorney General James Uthmeyer. And then before we bring Andrew on, I also want to run the clip of what Ron DeSantis said. Okay.
You're going to investigate him for no reason? Like, he hasn't even been, like, convicted of anything over there. Like, why are y'all bothering him?
Okay. Again, Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate have not been convicted of any crimes overseas. So I don't care about investigations that are ongoing or videos that you saw on X. They are returning home and they are responding to an outrage mob. Okay, Ron DeSantis is being texted by a bunch of his neocon lieutenants. And this is what he had to say at his press conference.
Governor, there's some reporting out there that controversial podcaster and accused human trafficker Andrew Tate may be on his way to Florida. Is he welcome here? What could the state do to send them back to Romania or whatever?
Well, we have no involvement in that. I read about it through the media. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction, whether they want to rebuff his entry into the United States, and I have confidence that whether it's Pam Bondi or Christine Noem, that they will be looking at that. I do know our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking at what state hooks and jurisdiction we may have to be able to deal with this, but
man, let me see what Andrew Tate got to say about this. This is insane.
You're probably finally thought after 3 years of Romania just essentially saying you're not allowed to leave your house.
Oh, you can't even like put his name in your title. I forgot about that. Hold on. I'm gonna do it anyway. Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate talks. Yeah.
Took him forever to even bring charges against you, that when you land on American soil, okay, great. At least I'm in a place where there will be due process and there won't be these sorts of witch hunts.
Yeah, I believed it was the land of the free and the home of the brave. And I was extremely disappointed when I landed. I'm not intimidated by these people because I don't even know what jurisdiction they believe they have. I think this is the second time I've been to Florida in my life. Before this, I was here for 3 days. So I don't know what they're intending, but I am extremely disappointed. I am genuinely disappointed that after flying to my home nation, the country I was born in, the country my father served for, the country I hold the passport of, they've decided, because of media spin and slurs, to instantly attack me. And very correctly.
Yo, another thing that's crazy about all of this, Candace Owens does like crazy views, bro. Like she be doing like 1 million of video at least. She's interviewing with Andrew Tate that does crazy numbers, and his video is at 843,000 views. And Andrew Tate is talking about something this serious, like, you know, Attorney General coming at him. And it like, you know, it's just like weird things I'd be seeing. Like, bro, he could do these views just like posting something on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, y'all, this be weird. Like, this whole internet game is crazy, bro. Like, certain people.
As you pointed out, this is not a matter of trying to solve a crime. They can't even identify a crime. They're just trying to pin something on me because they don't like me. And what happened when I landed is that as I left the airport, my electronics were seized, which I'm assuming are the search warrants he's talking about.
What is electronics to see? First of all, bro. Attorney General crazy. You can't even, like, when you at his level, imagine all the conversations he's probably having with people in his DMs, like super crazy, influential, popular people, and they gonna know. Once he gets electronics, they go through all of his stuff. They're gonna know what he's doing. That's insane.
About. So my phones and laptops were already seized before I...
And his laptops. You know what they're doing? They're trying to stop him from making money. That's how he makes money, like online. You know what I mean? It's crazy, bro.
Even saw the media. The second I landed, state police took all of my electronics, took everything, and told me there was an open investigation into me. I guess this is the search warrants he's talking about. So if you pull back up his tweet, it's very interesting. He says, based on preliminary investigations. Well, the preliminary investigations, there we go. Last week, I directed my office to work with our law enforcement partners to conduct a preliminary inquiry into Andrew and Tristan Tate. That's not true, because you didn't even know I was coming to Florida. So that is a lie, sir. What you did is you found old YouTube videos I made, which I have debunked.
Yo, if you want me to answer every little thing, like, bro, y'all don't be like super chatting or nothing. I be getting, y'all gotta understand, I be getting like 100,000 views on videos. Y'all don't super chat or nothing. So, like, yeah, sometimes I stop and I'll read the comment section and I'll like reply and stuff like that. I do that sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, but y'all be like, I'm talking to the dude that's like going crazy in the chat. You don't be, y'all ain't even hitting the, like, the thing that prompts me to like really going into the chat is when people start hitting the hearts, the hundreds and stuff like that. If you're not doing that, you're not even super chatting, like, bro, I'm not gonna stop everything I'm doing.
1,500 times, but of course the enemy always ignores the debunk and just continues to play them on repeat over and over, use them as an excuse to seize all of my electronics on landing. I'm now in Florida. They have all of my electronics, and I guess they're going through it, trying to find a crime. I'm very confident they won't, but we also know how ridiculous prosecutors can be. So here I am expecting to be welcome in my host nation, and it turns out they're the
prosecutors.
Stasi. This is worse than Romania. This is communism in and of itself. I'm truly disgusted. And if I be honest, there's a lot of rumors flying around. I got a phone call from somebody very important who told me that the DeSantis crew are extremely worried that I was going to support Byron against his wife in the Floridian governor elections. I'm new to this. I don't know anything about Floridian politics. I didn't even know DeSantis and Trump didn't get along. I didn't know any of this. I'm just a man after 3 years who flew home, and everyone's telling me that you're a political pawn and you can motivate and activate the masculine youth and you're going to get them all to vote against his wife. And that's why they're trying to take you out politically, because Trump supported the guy against his wife. And this is brand new to me. So I'm just in the middle of this being told that I'm the one who's going to be deciding the next governor of Florida with no idea what's even going on. It's truly incredible.
It is incredible. And it's interesting that you say that, because I never supported DeSantis for president. I just saw right through him. It was very obvious to me that he was not his own man, which is to say that he moves according to what his donors want. And because every single person that I don't respect, meaning the neocons who have never supported Trump, got behind DeSantis and were passionate about him or fighting for him, made me go, you know what, that's a man that I can't trust. You know, I don't know who's running that campaign or who's running his ideas, but it's not Ron DeSantis. Okay. Yeah. And so what I think happened was, as soon as you landed, because we saw it happening live on X, I mean, neocons were saying crazy stuff. They were saying, deport him. I'm like, what do you mean deport? We didn't even deport Jeffrey Epstein. And he got...
Yo, she brave for even mentioning, dude.
Like, convicted of crimes. By the way, I should mention, in Florida, when he just got house arrest for actually crimes against minors, that all happened in the state of Florida. And I have never seen that same group of neocons radically speaking about Jeffrey Epstein. Nothing. They're silent about all those matters, but they freak out about you. I saw it happening live. And then now you're telling me that as soon...
Because he's trying to get men to be masculine again. That's why they act like that.
As you landed in the state of Florida as an American citizen, the state rolled up and seized your electronics. Under what pretext? What did they say to you?
Well, exactly right. It's kind of it's very, very interesting. They fear me so heavily. They talk about me like I am the devil incarnate, and I've never been convicted of any crime anywhere on the planet ever. They fear me because of my political power. They fear me because I can galvanize the masculine youth in any direction that I believe fit. And I serve our commander in chief. I believe in all of the prepositions of Donald Trump. If Donald Trump believes Byron is going to be a better governor of Florida than DeSantis' wife, I'm likely going to agree with him. And I guess that's why they decided to attack me. When I landed, the customs officers sat there and said, we have to go through all of your phones and all of your laptops. And I said, why? And they said, we've been instructed from the absolute top level to search every single thing about your life. And I said, well, I don't see a warrant. This is very interesting. They said, if you don't tell us the passwords, we're going to seize them. I said, well, you're welcome to seize them, sir. I don't talk to police. I don't tell passwords. Go break it with your little software. Go bust in. And from that second, the criminal investigation was open before I even landed on Floridian soil. So it turns out, if from what I understand, I'm caught in some power struggle for Floridian politics. They fear me for some reason, and they're going to pretend I'm the worst person in the world. And any of these people on Twitter who want to come and attack me over some video I made 10 years ago, they need to wake up. The people who are in charge of this country are stealing your money. They're sending it to foreign wars. They're blowing little children to pieces. They're the ones going to Epstein Island, and they divert all of the negative attention for their heinous acts towards me, and you believe it. They say I'm the bad guy so often that you believe I'm the bad guy, not the people who are stealing your money and blowing people to pieces in foreign wars. I have never been convicted of any crime in my life. You can walk down to the mall and walk around the mall, and you'll walk amongst people who have been convicted of crimes. I've been investigated for 5 solid years by 4 different agencies and never convicted. I'm one of the most innocent people on the planet. And here I land in my host nation and they start again. It's truly truly saddening. And I know that this AG is just trying to make a name for himself and he thinks he's a smart ass, but I have a strong suspicion once they find out that my phones and laptops are empty and I haven't even been in Florida for more than 4 days in my life, that they're going to look pretty dumb when they have absolutely nothing to get me on. So then what happens, right? But I don't know how far and how crazy these people are. I don't know to what lengths they're going to make crap up to try and save themselves after this complete clown show. Why didn't they just investigate me in quiet? Let's pretend this is about law and order and they're truly concerned for the citizens of Florida. Then follow me around with secret police and investigate me in quiet. And if you find something, arrest me. Why the song? Why the dance? Why the press? Why the public? Why are you doing all of this if you're not trying to divert people away from the important things? The important things like all the actual crime and corruption that's happening. I had no interest at all in Floridian politics. I actually, truthfully, thought Ron DeSantis was a good governor. And that's why I gave him the benefit of the doubt and didn't even destroy him yesterday on Patrick Bet-David. I was very kind to him. Yes, he failed a competency test. Yes, he failed. But I could have been far worse. I could have completely destroyed him and made a clown of him. But I actually thought maybe he's a pretty good governor. I don't know. I knew he was good under COVID. I thought he was a pretty good guy. As far as I knew Ron DeSantis before I flew here, he was a good guy. Turns out I was absolutely and utterly wrong.
You know, a couple of things frustrate me about this. The first thing is the amount of people that are weighing in on your Romanian case who have never read, they have no idea what the case is about. And the first way that you know that they don't know.
They just see Andrew Tate. They don't like Andrew Tate. They think he's a misogynist, all of that. And they just want to just attack him. That's all it is, bro. Like, that's what it is. Like, they want to feminize like America. That's what it is, bro. And he is a direct threat to the people that have that agenda.
What it's about is because they keep showing videos of you from before the time that they're even referring to on the case. Like I actually took the time to read through that case, and I came out and I explained everything to everyone slowly with, you know, names, details, everything. And I said, here is why I do not think that this case is going to go through in Romania. I think I made a prediction years ago that it was going to get dismissed because of a lack of evidence. Okay. And I got hammered for that. Oh, Candace, look at this video of him here. Guys, I don't care about it. If I'm the person doing the Harvey Weinstein series, I don't care about anything but the actual evidence that is in the case. And I am telling you what I am looking at, and it's not good. Then that happens. Then the courts agree with me years later, and they say there's not enough evidence, so we're going to send it back down. We're going to overturn this, and you're going to have to bring up new charges. We're still going to keep this open, whatever it is that they say. And there's no like, oh, okay, maybe there's something here that I'm missing. Maybe I should actually, if I'm this passionate about Andrew Tate and I hate him so much, maybe I should try to read and understand what it is they're prosecuting against in Romania. No, they don't want to do work. They want to pick a side, and they want pitchforks, and they want to go after people based on mob mentality. And the thing is, I believe in due process, and I'm calling on people to understand that somebody landing who has not been convicted of a crime in their home country, who has the police swarm them and say, give us all of your technology because we're launching a preliminary investigation because neocons are upset on the internet, is problematic for all of us. Okay? It's problematic left and right for all of us.
It's scary for all Americans. And you made a fantastic point there. And I've kind of understood that the people who hate me, they need something to attack me with. They can't call me stupid, and they can't call me unsuccessful, and they can't call me anything other than massively influential. So they hate when I win my criminal cases. So instead of addressing that, they ignore it. I have beaten my cases. They keep repeating it. They know I've beaten my case. They keep saying I haven't. They keep pulling up little pieces of paper saying, oh, he beat the case. It was sent back, but technically it's still open. No, technically it has a file number, a dormant file number like every other closed case. Or when I address old videos and I explain where they come from and I explain the context, or I explain why it appeared on the internet, they see the full explanation exonerating me. They ignore it. They ignore all the exonerations. They ignore all of my victories, and they continue to repeat over and over things that they know are not true because they have illogical, blind hatred and fear for my influence. It doesn't matter how many times I win in court. Doesn't matter how many times I bust case. Doesn't matter how many times I explain myself. Doesn't matter how many times they are wrong. They're going to continue to repeat this over and over. And then we have the AG of this once great state talking about how he's concerned for Floridians and nobody abuses girls in Florida. Oh, except Epstein, I guess. And let's talk about human trafficking. If you want to go down to a club in Miami.
This is the wrong person to have a problem with, bro.
And count how many girls have OnlyFans and OnlyFans managers. Or if you want to talk about rape, let's go count the girls walking out of clubs, drunk out of their mind and high on Percocet, walking home with men they barely.
Yo, this is how popular Andrew Tate is, right? Thug Life, right? So I'm doing this video. The video has, it was like stuck at 11,000. As soon as I put Andrew Tate on, it jumped to 35,000 on this video. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why her views don't really make sense to me, because this, I don't know if she being throttled or people just like revolting and say, I don't know what it is. 843,000 views off something like this. Like, I would think this would be like a couple million. Like, you know what I mean? This is a popular topic.
In this state, you can walk around and see girls doing porn, having sex, running all over Florida, doing all these things. And I turn up here and what have I done since I've arrived? I did Patrick Bet David and sat on my laptop. That's all I've done. I've done Patrick Bet David, I sat on my laptop and I had Taco Bell. And I've got a criminal investigation?
Yeah.
What the doesn't even make any sense.
And I also want to be clear, and I would like to express this. Everyone in the conservative movement is a liar with this new, well, if you're this or you're that, and then you're not a conservative. I want to be very clear. I ran every conservative circle that you can think of. You name a conservative influencer, I have been at that dinner party. I have been in that conversation. I have been on that network, whether it is as a guest. Nobody had an issue with you, okay, despite your case going on, until you hopped on to Piers Morgan on October 9th and said that you were pro-Palestine and called it a genocide.
Oh, yeah, he did do that. He did do it. Yep. Yeah,
I watched overnight, they went from, okay, he's fine. You can talk to Andrew Tate. Everyone wanted to know Andrew Tate, figure out his platform, to a complete 180 and trying to say, well, it's not Christian. It's not this. He's a bad guy. And suddenly everybody wanted to look into Andrew Tate. I watched that happen live. Okay. So any person who would like to debate me on that.
Nicole Perez says she's supporting him.
Who is a neocon, who is pretending that they've held these perspectives about Andrew Tate forever since the investigations began. Please, I invite you to have that
Christian Madwig, he's a liberal. He said it's funny. On one video, he says he hates Florida, and now he's there. We gotta let the liberals talk. You know what I'm saying? Grayson Schuler, shout out to you. You are a member on the channel. Said Andrew, he has dual citizenship. It's a shame they are treating him like this.
Conversation with me, because you're all lying.
That's why, I'm gonna be real, right? I want to leave America for a couple years, see something else. I don't know if I want to leave America forever. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably rent my houses out or something like that and then leave, right? You know what I'm saying? Come back, all that thug life. You don't know, people take our freedoms. And I'm not saying Andrew Tate, I'm just saying people take our freedoms for granted. You can go to other countries and they can do whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Other places are more free in different ways. They may not have the same traffic laws. They may be a little bit more lenient. You can go faster. You can, you know what I'm saying? It's not as restrictive with certain things. You know what I'm saying? Even a lot of things. They got red light districts. It's a lot of things overseas and different. It's way different. You got a lot more freedoms. This is a Christian type country. You know what I'm saying? So they are really restrictive with a lot of things. But when it comes to this, he had a country after him. So he's all right, so let me come back to, Romania? So let me come back to America real quick. You never want to give up that citizenship unless you absolutely have to, but then now it's you come back to America and they try to get you. It's this is crazy, bro. But she's right. When he went on that Piers Morgan interview, it spun everything. She's right about that.
Okay, let's not dress this up as something that it isn't. This is about Andrew Tate.
And look at Andrew Tate didn't even know that. Look at the way he's looking at her when she breaks that down. Cause he probably thinking like, oh yeah, she right. This probably caused it. Look how he's looking as she's saying this.
I ran every conservative circle that you can think of. You name a conservative influencer. I have been at that dinner party. I have been in that conversation. I have been on that network, you know, whether it is as a guest. Nobody had an issue with you, okay, despite your case going on, until you hopped on to Piers Morgan on October 9th and said that you were pro-Palestine and called it a genocide. I watched overnight, they went from, okay, he's fine. You can talk to Andrew Tate. Everyone wanted to know Andrew Tate, figure out his platform, to a complete 180 and trying to say, well, it's not Christian, it's not this, he's a bad guy. And suddenly everybody wanted to look into Andrew Tate. I watched that happen live, okay? So any person who would like to debate me on that, who is a neocon, who is pretending that they've held these perspectives about Andrew Tate forever, since the investigations began, please, I invite you to have that conversation with me, because you're all lying, okay? Let's not dress this up as something that it isn't. This is about Andrew Tate saying something that you don't want him to say because he's too influential. If he took a Likud party position and he said, kill every last Palestinian, he would be governor of Florida.
You know, it's very interesting because I felt it myself. When I had these accusations, everybody understood, well, they've done this to Donald Trump and they did it in New York and this is happening in Romania and it's all very old and the judicial system there can't be trusted and they haven't even managed to have an election because it's so corrupt and this doesn't really make sense. And why did they attack him when he got big online? Everyone was on my side until that exact day. And after that day, they all instantly turned on me. The second I said we shouldn't be blowing children to pieces, the second I criticized Israel, that was the day where I lost all of the support from the conservative side.
No, he lost support from the conservative side? What?
Would you like to take this opportunity?
This is a 17-year-old male. They don't want to highlight how ridiculous it is that they...
Hold on.
I also understand in his political sphere, sometimes he has to hang other people out to dry to save himself because he's getting heat also. Secondly, I'll argue with you about the fact that everything I said was untrue. I think the only thing I said that was untrue is that perhaps he was undocumented. It was a 17-year-old male. It was a migrant. He did kill little girls. And advocating for people to stand outside and make it clear that they're unhappy with what happened is not a dangerous ideology. We live in a democracy where we have the right to protest and the right to make it clear when our voices are not heard. I recently protested against the Olympic ceremony outside the French embassy. I'm not sure if you saw it, complaining about how they depicted Jesus Christ, because I was unhappy with what I saw. And I think that when people feel like they have a voice, they're not likely to get violent. And the problem we have now is that people do not have a voice, which is why we're seeing rioting, which is why we're seeing looting, because people do not feel like there's a political solution any longer. And what I was trying to do is encourage people to stand up and make their voice heard in a peaceful way to avoid violence. Because when people feel like they're not heard, violence is always the end result.
Yeah, but you've actually had the complete opposite effect, and you know the massive following that you have and the influence that you can wield. And by spreading, I mean, again, you've repeated the fact this kid who has obviously now been charged with very serious crimes, including killing these 3 girls, was a migrant. He wasn't a migrant. He was born in Wales. His parents were legal immigrants from Rwanda. So he's not a migrant. He's somebody born in Wales, born in the United Kingdom.
Well, first things first, it's unfair for you to say that I've had an opposite effect. What I did was point out the facts of the situation, that a 17-year-old male killed little girls. If I point out the facts of the situation, that the sky is blue, and then people go and decide to riot because I've said those things, does not mean those things are not true. That's the first thing. Secondly, here's where we have the dichotomy of the UK, and I actually think this conversation is going to be one of the most important and potent conversations of modern times, especially as this issue is not going to be solved anytime soon, Piers. The problem we have now in the UK is that we have a certain subsect of the population who believe because he was born in Cardiff, he is a Welsh man. And we have another subsect of the population who believe that even if he was born in Cardiff, he is not Welsh. I'm currently in Romania. I'm an American and British citizen. The woman who I have a child with is Italian. The child was born in Romania. The Romanians do not consider that child Romanian, not by their view of the world. If I had a child in China, they would not consider that kid Chinese. They would look at the face shape of the child and say that's not a Chinese child. If I had a black child in Russia, they would not consider that child Russian. In the West, in the democracies, we do. But we have a problem because
Russia, y'all like that for real? Man, Vladimir Putin, I ain't rocking with you, bro. I'm not rocking with you, bro. Y'all like that? Y'all don't like us?
Now you have a dichotomy of ideas. You have two different camps, and the camp that believe that this person perhaps isn't even Welsh in the first place are also the camp which are being suppressed and not allowed to speak and are being smeared and labeled as far right for having genuine concerns. And that is why things are getting exasperated and out of control. What we need is conversation, and what we need is dialect. You cannot have a multicultural democracy and ignore the concerns of one particular subsect of that culture, especially when it's the native culture, and expect everything to be fine forever. There's a lot of people who have a point of view. They didn't feel like they had a political solution anymore. And this is what's happening. The reason this dichotomy exists, peers, please understand, if they are sitting there and they're accepting that this is a Welsh man, but now they're starting to get concerned for the safety of their children, and they don't feel like there's any kind of political solution, well, then they're going to come to the very simple and obvious conclusion that they'd rather not have anyone from anywhere else in their country to avoid these things happening again, because they don't feel like there's any other political solution. This is a fail of the politicians. This is a failure of the leaders. It is a job of a leader to inspire all of the people to have trust in him, not just some of the people, not just the people he likes, not just the people on his party or the people he wants. It is his job as a leader to have every single person in the country believe that he cares about the issue and he's doing something actively to fix it. Instead, what Keir did was stand up and do the absolute opposite. Shut down any legitimate concerns, tell people they don't have a voice, tell people nothing's going to change, is going to stay exactly the way it is. And let me tell you something. I want to make this very clear. There's a lot of people in the world who would rather go to jail and have a warm bed and 3 square meals a day than watch their children die. There's a lot of people who would rather go to jail than watch their society collapse in real time around them. There's a lot of people who would really rather go to jail than feel unsafe to walk the street at night ever again.
Wait, somebody said they don't think Andrew Tate is intelligent? Bro, this dude has amassed like an intense, crazy following. Like, how do you not think this dude is an intelligent guy? Like, he's sitting up here with Piers Morgan, like, taking the floor right now. Like, you don't think he's an intelligent guy? Sometimes people could just get up here and just spew anything. You know, I think he's a pretty articulate guy.
People who have lived in the same place for a very long time, they've a vested interest in this geographical location. And without political solutions being offered, I don't know how hubristic you must be to sit and expect anything other than what we've seen. This is a failure of leadership. And that's what's so disappointing about it.
Right, so here's my response to what you've just said. First of all Keir Starmer has said, as far as I can see, is that he is going to bring the full force of the law against people who committed acts of violence. And the violence that was perpetrated...
No, he called them far right.
Yeah, well, there were far-right thugs who were leading this, and they were attacking mosques. They were chanting anti-Muslim chants, and they were doing this because
there was a black person in the crowd. Would you say
you've had your say? I'm going to have my say now. It was put out falsely on social media that the person who did this was a Muslim. Not just a Muslim, but a Muslim who came in on one of the small boats, part of the very contentious ongoing issue of the small boat. I'm not saying you did. I'm saying this is what was put out on social media in a series of false posts, which then went viral, right? So he was supposedly a Muslim. Not true. Supposedly came in on a small boat. Not true. Supposedly on an MI6 watch list as a potential terrorist. Not true. None of this was true. And so on the back of that, far-right thugs who led this went up and attacked mosques, and they went and attacked hotels with asylum seekers in there waiting to be processed, and they were trying to set fire to them. Those are acts of despicable violence which were being led by far-right thugs. Now, not everybody involved in all these protests is a far-right thug. Some of them will be ordinary members of the public trying to legitimately protest peacefully. I completely accept it. But the ones who were leading it, who were committing the acts of violence and making the threats against the Muslim community, were doing so because they have been completely misled about who had done this. It was not a Muslim. It was not an illegal immigrant.
And, you know, it's very interesting, like, looking at Andrew Tate's demeanor, like, when he's got Piers Morgan going off. He's just kind of just, like, listening and analyzing what he said. He's not like, you know, a lot of people get flustered. He's not like that. He's just, like, sitting processing what Piers Morgan is saying and getting ready to respond. That's interesting.
It was not somebody on the MI6 watch list. It was none of those things. Now, you posted on July the 30th.
Not emotional. You're just like, thinking about what he's saying.
The day after the killing. And I feel particularly incensed, by the way, that the deaths of these 3 young girls have been hijacked in such a reprehensible manner to attack Muslims when a Muslim had nothing to do with it, right? You put this on July the 30th, you posted a picture saying, this is the man from Cardiff. We're looking at this picture now. That murdered the little girl straight off a boat, you said. Really? He wasn't straight off a boat, because this wasn't the person who perpetrated the crimes. You got 4.3 million views for this. And a community notes clarified, this is not the man that killed, attacked the children and adults in Southport. This image is of Kasonga Mabulu, who was arrested in Ireland in 2023 for a random knife attack at Dublin Airport.
So Piers Morgan went in on him.
Again, 24 hours later, you're posting more.
Okay.
You're posting more. You're posting complete
apologies.
disinformation.
I'm sorry,
it's not okay.
sir.
It's not okay.
No,
it was not the man.
Did I get the wrong stabber? Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, you did.
Piers Morgan, of
Yeah,
course.
you
I
did.
got the wrong stabber.
Yeah, you did.
And he certainly looked very Welsh to me. Let me make this clear. I'm a Muslim, and I think anybody who attacked a mosque is going to have to deal with God. I'm not worried about the full force of the law. They should worry about God itself. But I also want to make something very clear to all the people at home, and clear to you, that most of the white people are very frustrated, and they're finding an enemy amongst themselves to take it out on. I think that the white people on these streets have a lot more in common with the brown people on these streets than they do with the politicians, because that's the problem we have here. Keir did not just only say they're going to face the full force of the law. He told everybody with a point of view, everybody who's concerned about the safety of their children, that they are extremists. And that's the most aggravating language you can possibly choose when people finally have had enough of not feeling safe on their own streets any longer. We have people who cannot afford to pay their bills watching migrants arrive who are now being held up in hotels at the taxpayers' expense for indefinite periods of time. We're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. Nobody voted for it. Nobody wants it. And everybody...
Talk to him, Tate! We're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. Nobody voted for it. Nobody asked for it. Yes.
They're struggling to pay their bills. Energy prices are through the roof. Inflation is through the roof. Now they no longer feel safe on their streets. They don't want to put their daughters outside to play. The police won't protect them.
We don't want to put our daughters outside to play. Talk to him.
Police won't turn up for most crimes unless it's something you say bad on Facebook. And when they look for a political solution, they're ignored. What kind of powder keg are we building here through incompetent leadership in the UK? This is not...
Right, chat, real quick. Who do y'all think won in this debate? I think Andrew Tate kind of smoking. He's smoking on a Piers Morgan pack. He's got you. True Rabbi is in the comment section. Subscriber says Tate talking. Mano T.I. said agreed. Andrew Tate is talking reckless. I like it. Wayne said Tate going in, bro.
Nothing but a leadership failure. There's not a country in the world where leadership can fail this spectacularly
once again, Andrew,
different result.
All right. But once again, Andrew, you are spouting nonsense in what you've just said.
Hold on. Yeah, hey, King Fire. Yeah, y'all hit the like button. It's a lot of people in here. Subscribe to the channel. We try to get to 123,000 subscribers. We almost there. We'll probably be there by the end of this live. I think 50 more people. We should be good. We should be there. 123,000. Y'all got to think. I had 67,000 about 4 months ago. So we've been moving.
All of it, but some of it is nonsense. You say, for example, nobody voted for the UK to support Ukraine. We've literally just voted Keir Starmer in the United Kingdom with a landslide majority.
Who was in Piers Morgan's ear telling him all this?
He made it crystal clear before that election that he would be contributing billions of our pounds.
Jeff Sprayberry says subscribe. Shout out to you.
To help the people of Ukraine thwart a Russian dictator. Well, you may laugh, but you just literally said the complete opposite. So we did actually vote for a leader and a party that was completely committed.
Oh, we're about to hit 123,000. We got 122,991. Also, make sure y'all watch uploads when I upload. Stop playing. Stop playing with your boy. What y'all doing?
To dedicating billions of pounds of taxpayer money to helping people in Ukraine defeat Vladimir Putin. So that, again, is a complete untruth that you've just espoused.
I'm sure the people who...
Wait, hold on. You got to get him, Andrew Tate. Piers Morgan, wow, and he doing too much.
the opposite. So we did actually vote for a leader and a party that was completely committed to dedicating billions of pounds of taxpayer money to helping people in Ukraine defeat Vladimir Putin.
What are you talking about, bro? Like, no. They just decided they're going to give them our money. We ain't vote for this, Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan, you be doing, bro, Piers Morgan, we be rocking with you, and then you start doing this. What you doing?
So that, again, is a complete untruth that you've just espoused.
I'm sure the people who are protesting up there in the north of England who can't afford to pay their bills, who are watching migrants live for free in hotels, who don't feel safe at night because the police don't have enough resources to turn up and respond to crime, are very happy that we're sending money to Ukraine. You're completely right.
Hey, who said that? Somebody in the subscriber said, how is Andrew Tate winning because he's madder? Because he winning.
Yeah, the fact he only had 20% of the populist vote has nothing to do with it. And the fact that every single party will send money to Ukraine because we live in
Yo, I'm like stuck at 122,999 subscribers. Y'all would not let me get that one subscriber. What is that? What is it? The hat? What y'all playing with me? Subscribe. Stop playing. Michael Zebrex said just subscribe. Y'all playing. Somebody said the freedom effect, and the subscribers said Tate is right on target.
a uni-party system, which is corrupt to the core in the first place. That's the reason why no matter who you vote for, the migrants keep coming, and no matter who you vote for, the money keeps getting siphoned out of the tax base and sent to Ukraine. That's the truth of it, is that most people are starting to realize and wake up from the matrix and understand there are no political solutions, because it's all a scam and it's all a lie. What we need is people to understand at home that we have to think out.
Hey, Kay say he is winning because he is talking faster. This is a good debate, though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, let's see. This is what I'm talking about. Hey, yo, Thug Life. This says 5.3 million views. This is what Andrew Tate can pull in. Now he's Candace Owens is super lit. He on Candace Owens, and that video has a 800 and something thousand views. That don't make no sense, bro.
Outside the box and vote for somebody who's not part of this two-party, uni-party insanity, which is why I was a fan of Nigel Farage. Even if he sells me down the river, even if he says I'm a bad person, that's his prerogative and that's his decision to make. I still believe he's the best choice as a leader for the UK.
Well, Nigel Farage is not just... Well, hang on. Nigel Farage has literally just chucked you under a monumental bus. He's gone on LBC radio and he said the reason that he himself was promoting complete nonsense about the person who committed these heinous crimes was because of people like you. Andrew Tate, he names you. He says that you were responsible for spinning disinformation, which he was dumb enough to believe.
Well, I never...
Hey, y'all, somebody in the comment section... Lenny and Bubs, right? A subscriber said Tate is using sophistry.
I said he was a Muslim. I never said he was a Syrian. I never said he was on the MI6 watch list. The only thing I could have got incorrect.
Shout out to Kimberly Ann. Subscribe. Yo, Kimberly Ann might be fine. Like them girls that be trying to hide their profile picture, you be catching them on Instagram. They be fine. You just don't want all that attention. Are you a Republican, Kimberly? Let me know.
Is that he was an undocumented migrant. And if Nigel Farage has done that, that's his decision. He'll have to live with his conscience. I'm not here to tell him how to think. I'm also man enough to be understanding that not everybody has to like me all of the time for me to agree with some of the things they say. The biggest problem we have in the world today is everybody's so emotional. Everybody's so upset all the time that if somebody says something bad about them, they pretend that person's completely bad. Nobody is completely bad. Nobody is completely evil. Everybody loves their children. Everybody wants to live in peace. A lot of people talk about the idea of war, but let me promise you, Piers, I'm a person who's had a very varied life. When you see people with machetes outside your door threatening you and the police aren't answering the phone anymore, you don't want war. The Muslims want peace. The white natives of the UK...
You know what I can't get out of my mind with Andrew Tate is him and Aiden Ross, bro. That was so hilarious when him and Aiden Ross like sat down and did an interview. That was hilarious, bro. So it's hard for me to take Andrew Tate serious because he be trolling too. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Andrew Tate. I ain't got no problem with him. Shout out to him.
The Christians want peace. Everybody wants peace. But when you have a political class which refuse to listen to absolute...
Yeah, this is a really good... I do remember this. This is a really good interview.
Was that not me as well? Have we not seen this trend happening over and over and over again? Candace Owens was totally fine. She was never considered anti-Semitic in Adolf Hitler. All of a sudden, she speaks up about a human right violation and says, too many Palestinian children are dying. And what happened to me overnight? They gave me anti-Semite of the year. Every friend.
Yeah, I think even in Australia, like she can't even go to Australia no more. She got kicked off of YouTube for doing a Kanye West interview. So then she took all her fans and she went to Rumble, and her Rumble was going crazy. Her Twitter was going crazy because she got like, well, she wasn't kicked off of YouTube, but she was like demonetized or something like that. So it's basically like, you ain't gonna make no money no more, right? So she like, forget it. Like, I'll leave. Her fans like are loyal. They literally went like with her. And I don't know what kind of deal they worked out, but YouTube, they gave in. You know what I mean? And then she got remonetized and she came back on the platform. Then she went from being political to now doing like more, how do you say, entertainment type. Like she went, you know what I mean? Industry, I should say. Then she started talking about Taylor Swift. She's talking about all that stuff. You know what I mean? So, but now she's starting to get back into politics. So I don't know. It's interesting. Her fan base is crazy.
And oh my God, something's happened. This is happening too much. It's too obvious at this point. It's too obvious. It's not even casual. You assassinate, you go after, and you attack people. And the reason that I believe they're doing this to you is because they're losing. Okay, the neocon influence it's waning. Everybody can see that. They can see that in the numbers. Organizations that were big and used to have influence don't anymore. And so when people lose influence, they essentially go, I don't want to do the free markets anymore. I can't win in the free markets. Okay, so how do we just get rid of the competition? These people that purport to love the battle of ideas. Oh, it's about let the best idea win. They're the ones that call for censorship. They were the ones that were telling YouTube to censor my new platform, get rid of Candace, demonetize her, do all these things. I've lived it.
See what I'm saying? Like, I know what it's like, bro. Like, I'm nowhere near, like, bro, how come I ain't got 1 million subscribers? Why y'all trying to play me, bro? But I kind of seen it. Y'all remember, who been following me since last year? Right? I'm wondering. When the election went down, somebody asked me, like, who you voted for, and then they took my whole channel. I had to like work with YouTube and they finally like gave it back to me. But it was like, I do nothing. All I said was I voted for Trump. Gone. Y'all remember that? So I know like certain things like, cause you know, people are human at the end of the day. They might see something and like get mad. You know what I mean? Just like I did it was a video I did recently, right? I think it was this month. And I talked about Donald Trump. It got 400 and something thousand. I think it was like 470,000 views I got on that video. Do you know that video was like limited monetization wise? And I'm like, why is this video limited? And so I went through the whole, and we were live like for a couple hours. I went through the whole video. I'm like, I ain't say no bad words. I ain't do nothing. Like, why is this video limited? So I hit YouTube up. I'm like, hey, like my video was limited for no reason. Like I went through the whole video. I'm not even doing anything wrong. I looked at the guidelines, did nothing wrong in the guidelines or nothing. So I talked to, I had the communication with YouTube and I was like, I think, as I said, it was a manual review. I think somebody seen it and may have had a bias of what I was talking about against what I was talking about, and they limited the video. If you would do a review of the video, you would see that I'm totally within guidelines. And so they looked at the video, and then they were like, okay, well, here's this link. Just dropped it, you know what I mean? Like, do another, like, review. So I did another review, and then they okayed it. Because they couldn't find anything. So what happens is that what I'm thinking happened, because, you know, I if I'm doing 400-some thousand views on a video, that's a lot of money, right? So if the video gets limited, the money, like, you know what I'm saying? The money that was there, where's it go? You know what I mean? So now you like, yo, I don't know if I want to do all that again and go live for hours again because my video can be taken away. You see what I'm saying? Or limited. So it's like a way to, like, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's a way to control people. Maybe I'm just thinking too much of it. But she talking like, yo, I've been demonetized. I've been like, Bro, she been through it. Luckily for her, her fan base is crazy. My fan base ain't nowhere near hers, right? Because I had started a whole new channel. I think I got like 8,000 views on like that video, like the first like video I put on the channel, which was all right. You know what I mean? It ain't like big, but like her, she doing hundreds of thousands. That's big. So if she decides to leave, then she's got a social media influence on Twitter that's crazy. Wherever she goes, she golden. You know what I mean? So, I mean, they had no choice but to let her back on this platform, bro. All for a Kanye West interview. That's crazy.
Go, I don't want to do the free markets anymore. I can't win in the free markets. Okay. So how do we just get rid of the competition? These people that purport to love the battle of ideas. Oh, it's about let the best idea win. They're the ones that call for censorship. They were the ones that were telling YouTube to censor my new platform, get rid of Candace, demonetize her, do all these things. I've lived it, Andrew. And that is why I'm very aware of what's happening to you. And I'm sick of people trying to dress it up as something else. Even sicker is I'm trying to pretend that it's like we're doing it because of our Christianity. No, you can no longer win in the free markets of ideas. So you are going after every person who does not hold your personal perspectives about war because it's no longer favorable. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is, bro. It's like mind control, serious mind control. Free thought is a crime, I feel like. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, yeah, especially when you got this kind of fan base Andrew Tate got. And he's talking like how he really feels. This is, y'all gotta understand, he is a serious threat to the establishment. He can get on Twitter and be like, all top G's, we voting Republican. He could do that, bro. You know how many people he can sway? All top G's, we not, you know, we need to get this person out of office. Like, he could, bruh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when they see that, you get hundreds of thousands of impressions and millions of people are watching everything you do. You are somebody that they're going to be watching. Guaranteed.
It's no longer favorable left and right.
Completely right. And you know what? That's one more thing I want to say. I don't know all these people who keep saying that my case in Romania, they pretend they give a shit about it. How much blood am I supposed to give to a...
Thank you, Candace Owens, for bleeping that out. Thank you. Like, hey, when you react to this stuff, you might be live for hours. They start saying bad words. It's like the video is worthless. Like, she's smart. She getting her money. She's like, nah, Andrew Tate. I rock with you and all, but you ain't about to drop no bad words on here.
Foreign, questionable judicial system. When I've never even had a trial, they've had 3 years of my life. I've been to jail. I was locked in my house for 2 years. I haven't seen my children. I missed my grandmother's funeral. My mother had a heart attack. I was stuck in Romania with no money, no cars, no access to my passport or my cryptocurrency. All of it was taken away from me. And in the end, they say there's not enough evidence for a trial and they send it.
All right, so she censored one. I think she forgot that bad word.
Back to be dormant, and people are sitting there saying I should give them more than 3 years of respecting their judicial system and just sit there for the next 5 years having my life wasted by some prosecutor who's funded by George Soros anyway? What kind of clown world are we living?
Is George Soros still running everything, bro? This is how old is he? Hold up. Wait, I don't know. I think I can't talk about George Soros. I think you want to know. I gotta. Epstein, you gotta leave him alone. Do blogs on RFK. He like what shadow banned George Soros. I ain't never really talk about him yet. He's 94 years old, still running stuff.
Living in. These people hate me so viscerally. They throw all due process out the window. The people who hate me are going to sit here and pretend that what Florida is doing is a fine, perfectly normal thing. When we all know it's communistic and it is dystopian, this is the Stasi themselves. And it's amazing. I actually love that you said that yourself, Candace, because when I've said that everything changed on October 9th after I criticized Israel's actions, I got called a conspiracy theorist, but you felt it. You've seen it. If you have an opinion.
I was told it. You became persona non grata overnight. Literally overnight. It was just Andrew Tate now is this, and slowly everybody was pretending that they were invested in what was happening in Romania, but it had already been happening. It was already happening, and no one cared. And now all of a sudden they're making these strong statements. No one should speak to him. I mean, this is America. What do you mean no one should speak to him? I've been speaking to Harvey Weinstein for 2 years, as I believe he was wrongly convicted. He's a left-leaning, ADL supporting. It doesn't matter to me because this is not the way due process should work. Okay, and people should not be prosecuted because you don't like their ideas or you want something for them. We have to make sure we protect our judicial system. And so when I hear this, they took your technology as soon as you landed. What should be happening right now is left and right pressure should be put on Ron DeSantis and this Attorney General to make a statement as to why that was done, under what grounds a preliminary investigation is done. I want to know, what is the legal route to getting Ron DeSantis' text messages that day? I want to know who was texting Ron DeSantis. Is it a FOIA request? Who was emailing Ron DeSantis and texting him? I don't want your phone. I want his. Okay?
Yeah.
Your phone makes no sense to me. I want Ron DeSantis' phone. I want the Attorney General's phone. I want Utmeyer's phone. I want to know what donors texted you and told you to move. Because
hold up. Candace Owens is a top G. She like, I want Ron DeSantis' phone. I want to know who he emailed. I want to talk to. I want to know the text. She is a top G. Andrew Tate, like, yeah, go ahead, top G. Take control.
Because you were moving for donors and money and corruption, no different than a George Soros DA was doing. And I don't care if it's left or right. Wrong is wrong.
You nailed it. And you know what's interesting? This word, preliminary. You know, I went to jail preliminarily. You know, I was locked in my house preliminarily. You know, they stole all my money preliminarily. Then I fly to America, a supposedly free country. Let's remember, Romania was communist until 1989. I thought that was a communist nation. I fly to a free nation. Preliminarily, they steal my electronics to preliminarily try and nail a crime on me. My whole life has been preliminarily being destroyed, and no one's managed to come up with any kind of solid case against me ever. And it doesn't matter because I am being wrecked by the process. That's all they want to do. They want to endlessly process me and destroy my reputation, destroy my name, take my money away, and make it incapable. What they're trying to do is make it impossible for anybody to stand next to me because they know if I endorse somebody, I have power. So they want everybody afraid to affiliate their name with mine because of these stupid garbage charges that they keep preliminarily pulling out of their ass. They never have it.
I know these. I want to see this. Hold up. Before we get out of here.
What is you object to the Tates? Given that at the moment they haven't been convicted of any crimes, what is your main objection to them?
They're trying to force Andrew Tate to return to Romania. Wait, hold up, bruh.
Continue the legal process there. And in the UK, there are calls for them to be extradited back to the UK. Again, can that happen? I mean, in other words, is there any way that the Tate brothers can be forced to return either to Romania or the UK to face what many think would be a proper due process of justice?
Yes, if there are extradition treaties between Romania and the two countries, they can be extradited pursuant to the law. Again, that's consistent with the presumption of innocence. That is, you must return to face trial. In fact, the Romanian authorities conditioned their release on a commitment by them that they would return to face charges if the Romanian authorities insisted on bringing these charges. So part of the presumption of innocence is that you must submit yourself to a process by which your guilt can be determined. So it cuts both ways.
Okay, Zach Bonfilio, you know, I've interviewed the Tates a few times now, Andrew Tate, I think 3 or 4 times. And I've got to say, most young people, young men under the age of about 25, they come up to me all the time and just want to know what do I really think about Andrew Tate? And I'm not entirely sure. You know, if all the allegations against him are true, he's a despicable abuser.
Somebody said Trump will pardon him. I think he should. If they find like some wild, crazy reason to arrest him, he needs to be pardoned.
Of women. Some of the stuff he said from his own mouth, which is on tapes that have gone viral on social media, is reprehensible. He says it's mostly performative. He doesn't really mean it. It's like it's all part of an act, role play, and so on. He ran a webcam business and made a lot of money for him and his brother, and also for for many of his girls concerned, which again muddies the waters of what was really going on. And we may never know if there's no proper court case here. But I would also say that they have huge influence, the Tates, and a lot of what they say to young men about working out, keeping fit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all the sort of more positive stuff is fine. Where they cross a line for me, Andrew Tate in particular, is the constant misogyny, which I think is really damaging. And putting aside the allegations against him of a much more serious nature, sex trafficking and so on, the constant misogyny pumped out to millions of his followers, and in particular impressionable young men, boys, I think is very damaging. What's your view of the Tates?
Well, I think that people are conflating two different things, all right? They think that the reason why certain people presume that the Tates are guilty is because of things that they said. Right, like you said. Some of the things that he said are reprehensible. I don't care what he said. I care what he did. It's important to remember that a lot of the evidence that's put forth against Andrew Tate was uploaded by Andrew Tate. There is a video of him slapping around a girl whose age has been verified through court documents to be 15 years old. All right, I mean, there's no presumption of innocence when I can see it. Okay, and you're talking about, again, the court of public opinion versus the court of law. We want him to have due process, but innocent till proven guilty doesn't mean that you are innocent. It just means that you have to go through the process, which they are doing. The court cases in Romania, if similar to the UK, could take 4 to 6 years based on the average sexual assault case in that country. So the people that are saying, oh, if he was guilty, he would already be in jail. No, I mean, this process takes a very long time. Even in the US, it can take years. So the fact that it's been just under 3 years and he hasn't been found guilty yet does not mean he's innocent. We're being told that he's innocent because he hasn't been proven guilty. Wrong. If I see somebody doing something on camera and I can verify that the thing that they are doing is illegal, I am going to say that that person committed a crime. So we're being gaslit by the people that support Andrew Tate.
Well, also, and also, Zach, I mean, I think you're a MAGA. You identify as MAGA, is that correct?
Correct.
Right. So what's really interesting to me about all this is also the politics, which is you have the Republican movement in America pretty split down the middle here, where you've got a lot of Republicans who say, look, the Tates, they're a force for good. What they've been saying is empowering to young men, et cetera, and we embrace and support them. You see that a lot at the moment. You also see a lot of people like Ben Shapiro and Megyn Kelly and others, very high-profile conservative commentators, hammering them. So you're seeing the Republican movement split pretty much down the middle here, and a sort of battle. I
don't think it's the middle.
Well, and a battle for what the actual values of the Republican Party now are. What do you feel about that?
Again, I don't think that it's even split closely down the middle. I think that there is a loud voice of a small group of people that support Andrew Tate that have nothing to do with conservative values, Republican values, constitutional values, nothing. These are clout chasers who are just going after Andrew Tate because he has a lot of influence, he draws a lot of attention, and he's very good at messaging. I mean, the people that I've seen that are joining in on the fight against the Tates on my side, these are true MAGA, true conservatives. They are the majority of the party, and I bet you if you were to really look at it and dive deep, take a poll and find out how many MAGA are in support of Andrew Tate, the number would be very small. The problem is we're viewing this through the online space of social media clout, where they get engagement and they I would say, like,
which they themselves can fuel to many millions of people, thereby massively amplifying it.
It's the same thing.
Let me bring in Michael Francis. I mean, Michael, famously the mafia did a lot of very bad things, as we know, but they also had a famous respect for women.
What you mean Pierce don't have a spine? Pierce be going off sometimes.
Right? How would the mafia? Well, how do you?
Did you just see like Pierce Morgan versus Andrew Tate? He was wilding for a minute.
As a former mafia captain, how do you view somebody like the Tates, and in particular Andrew Tate, given the brazen misogyny that pours out of his mouth?
Well, Pierce, let me say this. I've spent a lot of time with both brothers. I visited Romania twice, spent several days with them. Both times I had my wife and daughter with me, my younger daughter. And I want to respectfully disagree with Zach. Innocent until proven guilty means you're innocent legally. You can take a photo, you can take a video, it's taken out of context. I know this for a fact. I was tried 5 times. I was charged with criminal activity 5 times. I went to trial 5 times. The case was either dismissed or I was acquitted in each case. They couldn't come up with a conviction. You know, and I'll say this. You said it earlier, Pierce. A lot of what Andrew does or says is an act. I've met him. I know their personal story. I know their background. I went into the case with them in Romania, which is, by the way, falling apart. There is no evidence. I've spoken to some of the women that were forced to say things. They refused, but they were the government was trying to get them to say things against Andrew and Tristan. They refused to do it. They told me exactly what happened. The case is falling apart there. I don't think it's ever going to go to trial because there is no evidence. And, you know, for them to come here in Florida and DeSantis to, all of a sudden open up an investigation based upon what? Based upon the news media, based upon the Me Too movement. There's no evidence there to say they did anything criminal whatsoever. And, I think there are a lot of MAGA supporters. I can tell you this. I can tell you this. In Florida, there's people that are asking Andrew to run for Congress. He had a very warm reception there outside of DeSantis. He's got a very warm reception in Vegas. And if he comes to California, he'll have a very warm reception here.
Well, we've got a clip of Andrew Tate. He went on the Candace Owens show, and he was talking about Florida's politics involving him. Let's take a look.
I'm truly disgusted. And if I be honest, there's a lot of rumors flying around. I got a phone call from somebody very important who told me that the DeSantis crew are extremely worried that I was going to support Byron against his wife in the Floridian governor elections. I'm new to this. I don't know anything about Floridian politics. I didn't even know DeSantis and Trump didn't get along. I didn't know any of this. I'm just a man after 3 years who flew home. And everyone's telling me that you're a political pawn and you can motivate and activate the masculine youth and you're going to get them all to vote against his wife. And that's why they're trying to take you out politically because Trump supported the guy against his wife. And this is brand new to me.
Let me bring in Sarah Stock here. A lot of women like the Tates. A lot of women hate the Tates. There's not much middle ground here. Like I say, as someone I'm a father of 3 sons, all adult, but I wouldn't like to hear them talk about women the way that Andrew Tate does. And he seems to pride himself on it. Are you entirely comfortable with being completely supportive of him without really knowing perhaps the truth about what happened with all these other women who've made the very serious claims?
I don't think I've ever claimed to be completely supportive of Andrew Tate. I mean, I'm a Christian. I don't agree with a lot of the sexual degenerate lifestyle that he promotes, which, by the way, I would say a lot of people in the conservative movement.
Of course, you are an American. Like, you know what I'm saying? She seems like she's like anti-man. Like, not all American women are like that, but a lot of them are like anti-man and anti-anything men like.
Promote similar sexual degenerate lifestyles themselves. We have Dave Rubin renting out women's wombs to buy surrogate children with his husband. And I find that equally as disgusting, but I think we need to be able to separate people's personal lives from what's actually going on here legally and say, okay, Andrew Tate is a U.S. citizen. He's just trying to fly home. And then we have this whole politically motivated witch hunt to go after him. This would not be happening if he wasn't a public figure and if he didn't have such controversial views. And I would also say that I think when Tate first came out on the scene, a lot of conservatives, big names like Ben Shapiro or whatever, fully supported him because they saw that feminists were going after him for saying these misogynistic things about women, and it was totally blown out of proportion. Ever since Tate started talking about Israel and going after what's happening with Israel and Palestine, I've noticed that the tone's changed a lot in conservative circles.
Yeah, I mean, that is interesting. And I'll bring Alan in on that. I mean, I have noticed that too, there's no doubt that certain people in the conservative movement have turned against the Tates, having previously been pretty supportive of them, because Andrew Tate converted to Islam, or said he did, and has been very outspoken, attacking Israel and supporting the Palestinians. Which again is, it may be part of the reason why the conservative movement is so split over them.
Well, he certainly has the right to be pro-Palestinian.
Sorry, that's for Alan. Sorry, yeah.
It doesn't change my views on the presumption of innocence. Indeed, it strengthens it. If he's unpopular because of his views on Israel, we have to make sure that we reaffirm his presumption of innocence legally on the serious charges he faces. So for me, his views on Israel are irrelevant legally. They're perfectly relevant as to whether I would support him as a person or not, but so are his other activities and what he has said on television, his attitude toward women. All of that influences my decision not to support him in any way, politically or ideologically, but I go out of the way to make sure I support the presumption of innocence even more strongly for people with whom I disagree politically.
Right. I mean,
but
Jenna,
the presumption of innocence the presumption of innocence does not mean that you have a free pass just because you are a public figure or you're a political target against some of these really serious accusations. And for Governor DeSantis and AG Uthmeier to say they're coming to Florida and there's credible evidence that there was a nexus to Florida, that allegedly he's grooming women that he ultimately used who were minors on his webcam on pornography. I mean, sex trafficking, pornography, those.
You said, Karen getting emotional.
Not political issues when it comes to the law. And so presumption of innocence doesn't mean, again, that he gets a free pass or that this is lawfare. Because if we are suggesting that just because we agree with Andrew Tate on some things and that lawfare does happen in political targeting, then somehow we're going to shield him as a political ally, then that is also lawfare. And we should not, as conservatives, support that, because either you are for the rule of law or you are not.
Yeah, I mean, look, just to remind people exactly what it is they're facing. I mean, the 4 women in the UK who filed a civil lawsuit against Andrew Tate, it was for rape and coercive control. They issued a statement to CNN that said, "We're in disbelief. We feel re-traumatized by the news the Romanian authorities have given into pressure from the Trump administration to allow Andrew Tate to travel to the United States." They're still awaiting trial in Romania over 40 serious charges of trafficking, coercion, and rape. Romanian prosecutors said that only the travel restrictions against the brothers have been lifted, while all other obligations remain in effect, including the requirement to appear before judicial authorities whenever summoned. I mean, on that point, Zach, I mean, I guess it's possible they could be forced back to Romania. I think it's unlikely. I mean, I think if you're the Tates, you're going to keep moving probably around America until you find a safe state where they may have found it already in Las Vegas, judging by the reaction they got there. And you're going to stay there, aren't you, rather than risk any more legal jeopardy? You're not going to voluntarily get on any more planes out of America, are you?
Well, sure, but also it's. Oh, sorry.
Well, Alan, on the legal bit, I'll come to Zach for a response. But Alan, legally, what's the position there?
Extradition is a federal issue, not a state issue. And so if the Romanian authorities seek to extradite him, they will seek from the United States justice.
WKRP, shout out to you with the 199. He said, "Show me a man and we find a crime. Justice system."
Justice Department his extradition, and if the extradition, which is a treaty matter, is carried through, no matter where he tries to hide in whatever state might give him better protection, Las Vegas, Nevada, instead of Florida, he's not going to be protected from federal extradition.
But if it turns out, Alan, if it turns out that the Trump administration, as has been widely rumored, did directly get involved with Romania at government level to allow them to leave the country, that would suggest they're probably not going to entertain the idea, administration, of allowing extradition to happen.
That's correct. And actually, extradition takes 2 forms. First, you have to go and get a court decree, but then the United States government and the State Department, the Justice Department have to validate it, and the Trump administration could preclude him from being sent back to Romania. Again, I state that only as a legal conclusion, not as something I think should happen.
Right. So, Zach, I mean, it seems to me, like I say, my gut feeling is they're not going to get on any planes leaving America, that they found a safe sanctuary.
Hold up. He ended up interviewing Andrew Tate today. Yeah.
Justice Department have to validate it, and the Trump administration could preclude him from being sent back to Romania. Again, I state that only as a legal conclusion, not as something I think should happen.
Right. So, Zach, I mean, it seems to me, like I say, my gut feeling is they're not going to get on any planes leaving America, that they found a safe sanctuary. If it is true, as I think it probably is, that the Trump administration at some level has done some kind of deal, agreement with the Romanian authorities to let them leave in the first place, I think it's just unlikely they're going to entertain any thought of allowing extradition. Therefore, they can stay in America, avoid any more legal activity if they are not in a state like Florida, which has now indicated it would independently investigate them. So if they find a friendly state, like I say, that probably means it's the end of their legal jeopardy. And many people will say, well, that's completely wrong.
Yeah, I think
anybody do whatever they want, grind everyone into poverty, irregardless, then you're going to have some sort of uprising. And it's unfortunate that the poor people, and I call them poor, I mean the average person, is turning on the average person as opposed to turning on the rich elites who are just plundering the country. That's the truth of what's happening here.
Well, what is?
You watched
I think
my
what is
video.
really.
We played it. Yeah, the only thing I had incorrect was that he was undocumented. That's the only thing you could perhaps say he was incorrect. The London stabbing, Pierce. The London bridge attack, he was born in Pakistan. We want to sit here and talk about how the large contingent of the people committing terror attacks in the UK and the most heinous crimes are not natively English people. And when we need to sit here and address this without being called racist, without being called far right, I'm a mixed race Muslim and I'm pointing out this very obvious truth. If we're not going to be able to point out the truth, what do you expect besides anger?
Well, I mean, the sheer brass neck, frankly, Andrew, of you lecturing me about the truth when you've spent the last week spewing complete fake news bullshit is breathtaking, right? And also, I would say you've also been spewing stuff that is blatantly racist. On the 1st of August, you posted a cartoon saying, typical man from Cardiff. Let's look at that cartoon. This has had 11 million views.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a taxpayer. It's a migrant arriving on the boat with taxpayers' money, and I think a lot of people are upset about that. I want to make something clear because I'm a Muslim myself.
Well, when you say typical man from Cardiff, when you say typical man from Cardiff, you are again telling people that, in your estimation, the person that committed this came in as an illegal migrant on a boat. That is not true. None of that is true.
Well, what I'm actually doing, Pierce, because you may not be aware of this because you're part of the legacy media machine, which is why you defended Israel so heavily.
I'm on YouTube.
You're not allowed to have your own opinion.
YouTube.
You're not allowed.
On legacy media.
You're part of the legacy media
show is on
machine,
YouTube.
and you're not allowed to have your own opinion. But let me explain something.
Every word of this will go up.
He said you're not allowed to have your own opinion. What?
As you know.
Perfect. I understand exactly how the media machine works. The fact that they kept highlighting that he's from Cardiff and showing pictures of him as a child, as opposed to showing pictures of him as the large, barbaric man he was, which stabbed those little girls, was a deliberate PR spin by the propaganda arm of the British government to try and subvert and subdue the UK populace because they knew everybody would be outraged by what they saw. That's why every picture of him is he's a kid.
Honestly,
they keep saying he's from Cardiff. This was set up on purpose. Now, the point I was making is as follows.
He was literally born in Cardiff. The Matrix didn't pretend he was born in Cardiff. You've been posting cartoons of people coming in illegally, armed on little boats, because you want people to think that the person that did this was that person. But he wasn't.
You cut out there, Pierce. I think I understood you. I'm a Muslim myself, so there's no reason why I want any kind of violence against Muslims. That's the first thing that's very clear. And I want to make something else very clear. I'm actually in a quite unique scenario as a Muslim revert, half black, half white. I've had both sides of this dichotomy try and recruit me, perhaps. I can't be taught to hate anybody. There's no Muslim alive who can teach me to hate anybody, and there's no white man alive who can teach me to hate anybody. There's no hate in my heart, there's only love. But when you have love, you have protectiveness. And you have to feel a protectiveness for the things you care about. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. We call people hateful all the time for having a point of view, especially when they get out on the street because they feel like they need to express it. A lot of these people were not hateful. A lot of these people were full of love, and they were full of concern.
You literally encourage people to feel hateful. You've encouraged people to feel hateful because you've encouraged people to believe the person that did this crime, this alleged person that did it, because it's going to court. We'll have to let the process do its due process. But the person who's been charged with the crimes of killing these poor girls is not an illegal migrant. But you wanted to demonize illegal migrants by what you've been doing in the last week. You wanted people to believe this was one of the people who come over on a boat illegally into this country, part of the so-called invasion. And here's the interesting thing about your position with regard to your conversion to Islam and becoming a Muslim. Muslims, as you know, have been ranting about you for the last few days, utterly betraying them because you've decided to associate yourself with Tommy Robinson, who is a far-right thug, who has been spewing utter horrible Islamophobic anti-Muslim rhetoric all week, and yet you have not distanced yourself from him. So the Muslim community in the UK now view you as part of the enemy too. You know that. How do you feel about that?
Somebody said Tesla been having some problems.
Well, I pray for my brothers, and I think the information I've seen and the replies I've seen have not been hateful from the Islamic community. Saying to Tommy Robinson that I will debate him on issues, I don't think is failing to distance myself. I debate you all the time, Pierce, and we disagree on basically everything. I'm happy to argue with Tommy because we disagree on so many different points of view, and I think it's very important that we have conversation. The reason these riots are happening in the first place is because everybody's afraid to talk. I'm prepared to sit down with somebody I don't like and don't agree with.
That's complete nonsense.
To talk to Tommy.
That's nonsense. The reason the riots are happening is people like you and Tommy Robinson have been spewing utter disinformation, which has led people to believe that the person that perpetrated these despicable crimes was an illegal Muslim migrant who was on the MI6 terror watch list.
Firstly,
right. I'm saying you and Tommy Robinson,
let's be
between you, okay. I'm saying between you,
but
you
where's
put
the
out
logic
there
failure?
a completely false impression.
There's a logic failure of lumping me in with somebody who I don't agree with and saying, oh, you and him
So do you
said
denounce
X.
Tommy Robinson?
Tommy Robinson and I disagree on a whole bunch of issues. I think he's completely incorrect on his view of Islam. We're not playing this game of constant denouncing.
Do you denounce him for inciting the rioting?
I denounce him for everything bad he said about Islam. He's absolutely incorrect, and I cannot be his friend or support him for that reason.
For inciting the rioting by telling people it was a Muslim illegal migrant.
It's not for me. It's not for me to decide who has incited the rioting, and it's not for you to decide.
Wow, you can't denounce that?
A court denounce what? I'm not going to sit here and say who's in charge of the riots because nobody knows.
Telling people he was an illegal Muslim.
My view on why the riots happened is because I believe that the native population, the Christian population of the UK, feels like their voice is not heard. I think if their voice was heard and they had correct
no, that's not why the riots happened.
Things would not be happening.
That's not why the riots happened.
The
riots happened. The riots happened because people like
things are written on social media all day, every day.
No,
and
Andrew.
there's no riots.
No, Andrew.
People finally had enough. After endless attacks where they felt like they did not get a voice anymore politically, when you don't have a political avenue, you're going to choose a violent one. I think Tommy is wrong about Israel, just like you were, because you were supporting the genocide in Gaza, and I stood up against you for that. I think Tommy's wrong on a whole bunch of issues.
Genocide in Gaza.
He has a voice. Yes, you were. He has a voice, and I'm prepared to sit here and debate with him.
Yes, you were.
I'm prepared to correct him on the things he's wrong about. And for you to sit and then you support a genocide, and you're going to say I'm a bad person for saying that little girls shouldn't get stabbed by people who don't belong in the UK in the first place. I don't care if you're a Muslim, I don't care if you're a Christian, black or white.
Okay.
Nobody should be turning up into the country without a passport.
I'm going to
Absolutely nobody.
I'm going to respond by saying this. I believe that successive Labour and Conservative governments have completely lost control of immigration to our country, both legal and illegal. They all promised tens of thousands net migration. It's never happened. We now had nearly 1 million people come in last year, net 700, 800,000, whatever it is, most of them legally, the completely outrageously large number, which is unsustainable for a country as small as the United Kingdom. We've also got a big issue with, although a much smaller issue, I would argue, with the illegal people coming in on these boats and some of them dying in the process, which is an appalling human tragedy perpetrated by evil traffickers traffickers, and this has to be dealt with. So on that, I completely agree. My issue with what's happened in the last week is that we have got Elon Musk talking about there now is going to be an inevitable civil war in the United Kingdom. And I've noticed what he hasn't done, I've called him out on this today, in his series of attacks on Keir Starmer, the new British Prime Minister, he has tried to paint a picture that there is one rule of policing the right-wing thugs who've been attacking mosques.
Did he try?
Well, they have, as you know, and another rule for Muslims walking around armed to the teeth looking for white people to attack. I think both are completely reprehensible, and I'm easily able to say that. The problem is Elon Musk has said nothing condemnatory about the initial rioting, which has continued to go on, which has been anti-Muslim and directly targeting mosques and Muslims for something that they had nothing to do with, which was the killing of these children. And I have a massive problem with that. Yeah. And I guess you have boxed yourself, if you don't mind me saying.
I, sir.
Well, hang on.
So do I,
hang on. Hang on. You have boxed yourself into a position now where your own Muslim community in the UK are enraged with you because they believe you are siding with Tommy Robinson, who is leading a far-right series of attacks on Muslims and mosques and is being blatantly Islamophobic in the process. And you know that. And so what do you say to the Muslim?
It's a pretty good debate. What y'all think?
Community who believe that's what you're doing?
Well, if there's a small contingent of the Muslim community which believe that, I've yet to see so much vitriol like
not
pretending
small.
exists. But I want to make it very clear. I want to make it very clear, Pierce. I'll make it very clear here. I will answer the question. I am an Islamic revert, and I do not want to talk scripture because there's people more qualified than I, but I'll make it clear. I lead with love in my heart. The Islam I was taught was one of peace and tolerance. There's not a single person alive who can force me to take sides or to hate anybody else. And I don't care what kind of Islamic person you are, to come along and tell me I should hate somebody else because of Islam is not the kind of Islam I prescribe to. I have half of my family which is Christian, half of my family which is Muslim. I'm half black, I'm half white. I do not want either sides of my family to face any kind of violence on the streets. I'm the person who's been calling for peace. You're reading out the odd tweet here and there. Why don't you read out the 30 tweets I tweeted explaining that we need peace on the streets and we need to restore some form of democratic representation to the House of Parliament. You only choose and lie by omission and try and pretend there's a problem where there's not. I love all of my Islamic brothers, and I also love every Christian, Buddhist, and Hindu. I'm a person who has no hate in his heart, and if anybody has a problem with me personally, I'm happy to speak to them about it. But all in all, I've not seen this
Jewish
hate that you're
people?
pretending exists. I've actually seen unlimited
Jewish
support.
people?
I've actually seen huge support from the Islamic community. That's what I've seen, because they understand that in Islam we teach each other to live and love
let me
with
read
peace.
you.
We're not sitting here trying to hurt each other. And actually, one more thing.
Stop talking for a moment.
I will say to the Muslim brothers, I will say this. We
Piers Morgan cannot control him.
need to show the world that we are not the hateful ideology they think we are. We need to show the world that we believe in God and we trust God and that we're going to stand up for our beliefs and we're not going to allow ourselves to be watered down or walked all over. But we also need to understand that there's this terrible perception of us that has been painted by the Western media machine, and I like to live with love. When I tell people I'm a Muslim, I see fear in some people's eyes, and I spend a lot of time trying to talk that fear out of them. There's love in my heart. There's nothing but love in my heart for everybody.
Yeah, you keep
for
saying there's so
everybody
much
who
love in
rioted,
your heart.
I will pray.
Hey, shout out to everybody. I'm gonna let y'all finish this. Yeah, it's a very great debate. 420. Shout out to everybody that's been watching, subscribe to the channel. I think we got like 100 and something subscribers. I appreciate everybody, but I gotta go. I gotta chill. I gotta get some sleep. We've been live for like hours. You know what I mean? But shout out to Eve. I see you in here. She is a member on here. I want to give you a shout out. Said, now he backtracking on what? I'm so confused. Eve said, I could have sworn the guy started the convo by going off on people coming into the country are the ones causing. Okay, all right. And then Eve said, I only know his name. I miss his backstory when it happened, so I'm clueless of the past. All right, but shout out to everybody. I'm